What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade, formerly known as the Midday Show. That is your girl Adara, and I'm Sharif, and we're going to wait for everyone to come on over from the mainstream. We already have the crazy Stitch Lady, and then we have the world's greatest moderator, Bears versus Bulls. Love it. We got Isaac Roberts. Good morning to you, my friend. Pitchbull, don't shoot, I'm fat. Okay. This skips 8. Patrick Langlois, we got Step, we got Darwin, Caleb, Mark, Anurag, Daniel, Rock, Big Dan Emmons as well, Pedro Khan, Mark Sniper, Benson, we got Wuku, we got Jack, Brian as well in there, Roger, Thomas, Frank Jones, as well as Monty G. We got the gauntlet. Adara, how are you this morning?
I am good. I'm good. I don't have much. I wish I had more to say, but yeah, I'm just doing well. I am in this Tesla trade. The range is breaking out a little bit, but we're holding that 201.70 area pretty well, which was going to be my area of exit because that was where we had that coming down to it earlier and coming back up. Worst case scenario, we get out around those 202.60s, or I might add here. I'm going to be patient, but yeah, we haven't broken below that 201.70 area that I labeled, so I am pleased as punch for now. How are you doing over here?
Not too bad, not too bad. We had one trade on Apple so far. Just review that, and then I'll tell you about the trades that I'm looking at taking. Right now, we're looking at defending that 180 level on Apple. Just have a look at the daily or the hourly chart. Look at that 180 level. Somebody somewhere is buying up Apple at 180 until they're not. But today, they were. So this is what we did. We got in initially, first entry, 180.43. Then we got bottom wick, literally, bottom wick, 180.30. Then we ride this bad boy up through the break of 181. We wet our beak on a couple of outs there. That's really the only trade I've had on the day on AAPL, but we've got some others that I like. First and foremost, VKTX, dang. That's all I got to say to this one. This one's curling up, guys. Look at the consecutively higher lows. It's not parabolic like it was earlier. It's moving 50, 60 pennies at a time, which is, definitely a mover. No question about that. But it's not moving, $2, $3 at a time. It's kind of settled down, started putting in that discernible trend with higher highs and higher lows. This one is above VWAP, is absolutely tradable for me on the day, and it's up big, man. 90% on the day, above now, looking to even go more. It's up $34, guys, $73 stock, and there's a real catalyst behind this one. They are doing GLPs, and I think they're trying to come at the GLPs from the oral side. Don't quote me on that, I'm pretty sure. The other one that I'm looking at is JANX. This one has been putting in progressively higher highs and higher lows. It's up, yeah, a cool 197% on the day, topped off at that $46 area, but it is respecting previous areas of resistance that are acting as support. Every retracement comes down into an area that was previously a resistance level. Case in point, 42. Multiple rejections at 42. Then you get the break. But when it comes and retraces back, look where it stops at, 42. And that's what I'm looking for here. If it comes back into 44 after touching 46, it initially had trouble breaking through 44. So I'm looking for that pattern to continue of coming in to that key area of support. The other trade I'm looking at, and I may have to rethink this, I was telling Adair right before we came on camera, I was looking at a 77 short on Carvana. Call me crazy. May not want to short this one given the short float and the possible short squeeze, but I like that 77 break, especially if we don't make a new high through 80. Let's just say we stop at 79. That'll be a lower high. And then so what I'll be interested in is, can we get a through 77 if we get 77 again. So that's what I'm going to be looking at here on Carvana. Multiple other names to get to, but we'll get to those later. And then, yeah, the futures doing the dance with no pants right now at 18,000. And I really like how the big kahunas are saying wick shimmy.
Yes.
I couldn't tell you how pleased I was about that.
I know you were pleased as punch.
Well, you know what would be really good? Once they start doing the dance with it, the wick shimmy dance. Neil didn't jump into that, pool today, but maybe he does later. Who knows?
Give him some time. Give him some time.
All right, let's get to the lesson, Adara. We are talking about Elliott wave theories today. This was one of my favorite topics, reading the book by John J. Murphy, Technical Analysis of the Financial Markets. This was a bit deeper into the book. I read it there the first time around. I read it in the Chartered Market Technician Level 1 materials second time around. And every time I read it, I absorb something differently. So I hope I can pass some of that information on to you, and then we can get to trading, baby, because that's, I think, why everybody's here. So let's start. So Elliott wave theory is essentially a method for analyzing financial markets by IDing repetitive wave patterns. Repetitive wave patterns. That's what we're looking for. It was developed by a dude named Ralph Nelson Elliott, hence Elliott wave theory, in the 30s, and it proposes that market movements follow a specific structure based on investor psychology. So as much as we want to believe everything is founded in technicals, a lot of it is influenced by psychology, no question about that. So here are some of the key concepts of Elliott wave theory. There are waves, believe it or not, there are waves in Elliott wave theory. Can you believe that, Adair?
Watch this.
I know, unbelievable, right?
Shocking.
Waves. So the theory identifies 8 specific waves that form a complete cycle. So 8 waves can form a complete cycle. 5 waves, which are labeled 1, 3, and 5. So these 5 waves, sorry, so there are 5 waves, but 1, 3, and 5, these move with the trend. I'm going to illustrate this in a second, so bear with me. Waves 1, 3, and 5 are moving with the general trend, while waves 3 are moving against it. That's called the corrective wave, all right? We'll get to that one in a second. So there are 2 types of waves. So there are 8 waves, but there are 2 types of waves. One is called an impulse wave, and the other one is called a corrective waves. Waves 1, 3, and 5 are the impulsive waves, so those go with the trend. Waves 2 and 4 are the corrective waves, all right? And those, you believe it or not, they correct. So are A, B, and C. We'll get to that one in a second as well. Those move against the dominant trend. And then there is a so impulse represents the main trend, corrective against the dominant trend, and then there's a fractal structure as well. We talk a lot about this in technical analysis. A lot of it is fractal in nature, meaning smaller wave patterns nest within larger ones. So the same 5-3 impulse corrective structure applies across all time frames. You can see it on the 1 minute up to the 1 day or 1 week or 1 month. Again, like I always say with the fractal nature of technical analysis, the lower down the time frame you go, the higher the failure rate increases, okay? So if you look at something on the 4 hour, it's gonna have a lower failure rate than when you look at something on the 1 minute or the 5 minute. That just goes with most of TA, if not all right? So here's basically what I'm talking about. So the first, you have the impulse move, which is the big move up. And you'll, what's up? The Katina man is short the market at the moment. What are you short? He's short Qs, AMD, and coin. And if you're not following us on the More Trader TV channel to see the Katina Man's trades, make sure to go over and run that channel simultaneously. That has Neil and Sean's positions. Back to the lesson. So the initial move is called the impulse move. And within the impulse moves, you have wave 1, 3, and 5. Typically, though, what separates wave 1 and wave 3 from 5 is wave 3 is the biggest of the 2. So that is going to be kind of what you're looking for there. You want to see the middle wave larger in the move up or down, works both ways, than waves 1 and waves 5. Wave 3 should be the biggest. There's no specific difference. Can I just show the chart? There's no specific difference with the size of the corrective waves, but the one that you need to keep your eye on the most is wave 3, larger than 1 and 5. All right? And here's an example on Lee Auto. Now, this is a bit of, you know, it doesn't look like it's Elliott wave theory, but if you start the move from over here, from around November of 2022, look at this. We get that big move up. So this is wave 1. And then we have the corrective wave. We have, and I'll show you this in a second on the SPX as well. We have the corrective wave. And now, if we break above this 48, what we could see is a wave bigger than the move from 13 to 46. And so it could be actually bigger than that. So keep your eye possibly on Lee Auto in the future. And another example of the larger wave, or sorry, the impulse waves, is what we did here on the SPX. Look at that trough that we made during COVID, that big move up, and then the consecutively lower highs during 2022 when we were retracing. Now, what we should be looking for is a move up off that 3,500 point level on the SPX, bigger than the one that we got actually from the bottom of COVID to the highs of December 2021, because wave 3 should be bigger than wave 1. So that is an example there. So now let's break down the waves. Let's talk about waves 1 and 2. Wave 1 initiates the trend, and wave 2 is the correction, often a retracement at about 61.8% if you're using fibs of that initial move up on wave 1. Wave 3 and 4, wave 3 is the strongest of the waves. So this one is the one that takes it the most high or the most low, whatever the trend is, okay? And it's often exceeding wave 1. So that's why you should look at wave 3 to be a little bit larger than wave 1 in price and both length. Wave 4 is another short correction at around 38.2% of wave 3. So a smaller correction in wave 3 than we saw in wave 1. So that's what you should be looking for there. Wave 4 should be a bit of a smaller correction than wave 2. And then wave 5, this completes the overall trend, often reaching a new high or new low, doesn't make a difference, before the larger correction comes. And then we have the actual main corrective waves, not the micro corrective waves that we saw in 2 and 4. We have waves A, B, and C. And these oppose the main trend and can have various shapes. Usually wave A doesn't retrace below the start of wave 1. So here's an example of that. So let's just show this example over here. So you have that big move up. There's wave 1 over there. And there's the little corrective wave 2. And then look how wave 3, much larger than wave 1. Then we get a smaller correction on wave 4 than we got on wave 2. And then we end the uptrend with wave 5. And once we end the uptrend with wave 5, then we get those 3 corrective waves, A, B, and C. And that is what I would say 2022 was on the futures. If you look at the Qs or the SPY, we had 3 consecutively lower highs in 2022, and then everybody knows what happened in 2023. We blew through that top, and we made new highs, new all-time highs. And so then once you're done the 3 corrective waves of A, B, and C, you start the trend anew. You start again from wave 1. That could be up or it could be down. Doesn't make a difference, but you restart again. So I hope this example over here helps, because this really explained it to me very succinctly. Any questions or comments on this? Yeah,
I think really what I'm getting is, so it's just basically kind of measuring how a trend might develop, right? And someone's asking what time frame. So it's fractal, which means you can see it on different time frames. But of course, usually with a lot of these fractal moves, the higher the time frame, the more significant it is going to be. But 100%. Yeah, basically just kind of, what I think is interesting too is it kind of shows how the length of the moves at each moment will matter as well, right?
Absolutely.
So the length of that move to the upside on wave 3 is going to really show you the importance of wave 3. So I find that really interesting.
And it helps you to identify where in the Elliott wave position are we? Where are we at? Too. You know what I mean? Are we in wave 1, 3, or 5? And one way to judge it is by looking at the size and length. So time-wise and price-wise, both. Wave 3 should be larger than the other 2 in both.
And then where we are in the trend as well.
Yeah, exactly. Are you ending the trend on wave 5, or are you just initiating it on wave 1, right? Yeah. So you need to kind of know where you're at. All right, and some other facts, guys. Really important stuff here. Elliott waves have some similarities to Dow theory in that both theories recognize the stock price moves and patterns like the phases in the Dow or the waves in the Elliott. Remember yesterday we talked about the phases in Dow theory? Just check that out if you'd like. Elliott waves provide greater market detail because they recognize the fractal nature of the markets. Again, they're making that really good point that all this stuff is fractal. And Elliott discovered and identified fractal structures in the financial markets in the 1930s, decades before they would be noted by scientists and demonstrated mathematically by quantitative analysis. And there are 9 degrees of waves, guys. So make sure you understand all that stuff before actually trying to employ this in real life. And remember, guys, important stuff. Elliott wave theory is not an exact science, and correctly identifying wave pattern patterns requires experience and both judgment, which creates this next point. The theory is subjective and open to interpretation, making it susceptible to confirmation bias, right? I think I see what I want to see, maybe not what is actually there. And the other thing is Elliott wave theory can be a valuable tool for identifying potential turning points, given that we kind of always know where we are in the Elliott wave. Are we in the impulse wave or the corrective waves? So you should be able to plan based upon that. We'll get to that lesson again for all those who are, this is new to, at the top of the hour after Neil is done. And we also have our social media team joining us.
We do. They're going to be joining us at around 12:30,
yeah.
I believe.
Yes, ma'am.
Like last time. So that'll be a nice, exciting time.
Yep.
Definitely join us for that so you can get a better sense of the people who have been doing our social media. And
yes.
You get to, meet, and we'll ask some questions, have some conversations. Very exciting times. Also exciting, there was a super chat from Kyle Burdett, $1.99 super chat a while ago. I just pulled this up. Did you say bear with lots of question marks? So thank you very much, Kyle Burdett, for the $1.99 super chat.
Big
Always happy to have you here, and thank you very much for the support. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. So what's going on? What's the look over there?
The look is, it's like not super sad, but it's like kind of like sepia tinted. I'll put it that way. We're not in black and white just yet. I had this met along. I got out of this. We lost about 30 pennies here. Basically, I like the look of this because, and I think the 5-minute kind of shows it as well. I think 5-minute definitely shows it better. We had these higher highs, higher lows. We always kept bouncing off view up. I got involved. We got maybe 30 pennies in. Basically, what I was watching for was that kind of decisive break below 484. We kept getting it. I got out. Now that I'm out, Meta's decided to run, so we might get back in this, but I want to wait for a bit more confirmation. Once burned, twice shy. As I
like how you said that before. I like that.
I think it's like kind of it's a universal truth. I think also I'm pretty sure it's a line in Last Christmas by Wham. So universal there as well. Once burned, twice. I can't sing it, but also yeah, the Tesla long did not work out. We broke out of the range. We broke below that area. I was looking for that 201.70 area, so I left. Currently though, in the IWM short, which I think it's getting dicier. I think this one, I was trading off the 3-minute, so I'll pull up the 3-minute. Basically, I like that we had kind of this massive move off that 203.70 with a top and tail candle. I still think this one is headed higher, so I'm being really cognizant. Already got out part of the position. If we get back into that 203.40s area, I'm going to take the rest out of this. This is just super scalpy, looking at a combination of the book and what we're doing on that 3-minute chart, but it looks like we might actually be headed back up earlier than I thought, so it might be time for an early exit from IWM. What are you looking at?
I'm looking at VKTX, man. While I was doing the lesson, this thing jumped from 70 bucks into 78. This thing is on the way up. It is above VWAP. It is awfully strong. The only thing that this hasn't done, and it's keeping me a little bit hesitant, is break through the pre-market high. Look, it's up 103%. It's hard for me to argue with that. It's above VWAP. If you follow How to Trade or the Midday Show, you know that my rule for small cap gappers is there's two things. One, it has to be above the pre-market high. It has to break above that after the bell at 9:30. Number two, it has to be above VWAP. This one has met one of the two preconditions, hasn't broken above the pre-market high. The pre-market high that we topped out there was around 88 bucks, and that takes us back into around 7:30 this morning. This is, I don't want to say it's like, I'm not giving this the title of, the next Lily or anything like that, but yeah, I'm not saying that. I said I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that they're taking a shot and trying to achieve something that no other GLP manufacturer has done, which is to, give it orally. Now, just like from my very rudimentary science background, I know that giving oral, doses is a little bit different because it's metabolized in the liver, and sometimes you don't get the full thing, this, that, and the other, which could present practical problems. But anyway, we'll see what this one does. I'm looking for a pullback possibly here to come in, maybe into around 74, say, was a breakout area at around, what time was that? It was like around 9:30. That's the IB high there at 9:30. I'm not going to chase this, though. It's coming back down a little bit now, so maybe that's good. The other one that I'm continuing to watch is JANX. It bottomed out there at 74. I was looking at getting in at 74, but this one now is starting to put consecutively lower highs. Maybe if I could get in here at 74, I could have a line in the sand, maybe at 43.5, something in and around there. But this one may be starting to give back some of the profits here on JANX. It's been hugging that 10-period moving average awfully well. But the spread on this one is just a little tough. About 30 pennies right now on a $40 name. That's maybe more than I want to risk. Volume 8.5 million. Not bad, not bad. I'll have to make some decisions here. What have you been looking at?
Other than this accidental NVIDIA short that I'm currently trying to get out of, not too much. I do want to clarify, not trying to go short here. I was trying to go long, punch short accidentally. Now I can't get filled because the spread is 20 cents. So we're trying to weasel our way out of this short. Although because I did punch in at the top, okay, we're out now. Woo, and it actually ended up being a winner, which is kind of sad that my biggest winner of the day was a fat finger move. But you know what? That's
all right.
Maybe that's going to be a sobering move that will inspire me to continue, you know, to propel forward. Just my attempt to think about this trade. But no, what I liked about this was kind of, although as I look at it now, maybe it is a short because we do have that flattish bottom here at 786. Clearly, I'm very indecisive, and I'm not in a good place to be trading this name, so I'm going to leave NVIDIA be for now. But what I was looking at was I like that we had kind of that burst off. I was going to be looking for that 788 area because we've been decisively able, repeatedly able to get to that 788 area. But alas, I'm going to leave this for now after that whole sobering fat finger moment. Also, I did get out of IWM. So I think someone was asking me where my stop for this was going to be. It was going to be where if we got above that kind of top and tail candle area of 203.75. We didn't. I got out here though, like as I said, because I was noticing we're kind of curling back up, so I didn't want to be a part of that. Did make about a cool 5 pennies on this one, 5 paper pennies. But no, yeah, all jokes aside, I think this one is continuing to go higher. I did miss the dip buy opportunity because it's pretty much where I got out. But if this range continues, I will continue trading it. Sharif was saying this to me off camera, like I'm always looking for the consolidative ranges.
Yeah,
and I
that.
am because
that's okay.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it because I really appreciate as well you pointing out to me last week, these opportunities are always going to exist in the market. It's a matter of finding them. So really what I've been trying to do is finding them, hunting them out, you know, looking through the market. And so I liked this opportunity. We're going to see what happens here. But I think it was Mildred, I believe, in the chat asking about Stressla. So I can certainly pull that one up for you. Not a problem at all. This is actually, I think, kind of curling in a way that's interesting around that 201.30 area. This is the 3-minute. I'm going to switch to the 5 because I prefer the 5, but it still looks kind of curly. I will be very cognizant, though, of what we do with that 202.40 area, ironically, where I entered this long, because that was the bottom of this consolidative range that we had basically from 9:55 all the way to 11. So this was an hour's worth of consolidation. That 204 area, which was very strong support, could easily flip to resistance. So I would be very cognizant of that 202.40 area. That being said, it does look like we're curling a bit to the upside. That's going to be my take on the Tesla right there. I hope that is of some help to you. Mildred there in the chat, I believe that's who it was. Oh, so yeah, B-Bot 5000 was correcting me. It was actually once bitten, twice shy in the Wham song. Because I knew as I said it, it felt kind of off. But yeah, I appreciate that. Also, Kyle Burdett giving you a super chat, which I don't know if we can read out loud, but it has to do with the doses. I'm going to let you be the judge of that. But
yeah, he's always dropping hotlines.
But thank you very much for the super chat.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, what are we, like in grade 7? I say oral, we're going to start giggling. What's going on over here? But yeah,
I mean,
it's all right.
But
yeah, I know you did. I heard you. It was okay. It was okay. No, we're in 2 trades right now, guys. We got into VKTX at 44s. I'm talking about 74.44. We're looking for our first beak wetter on the approach of 76. We're going to give this one basically to 72. It's going to have to hold up above 72. Otherwise, that's the end of it. And we're long 44s and a fifth here on JANX. The line in the sand is going to be 43.5. Looking for a move past 45 bucks. Going to keep my eye on both these bad boys here, looking for that move back up. VKTX is holding the 10 EMA quite well, so I'm happy about that, but I don't want to take it out too quickly. And I feel like my goal here at 76 might be a little bit, you know, we'll see. I don't want to take it out when I really haven't been given the reason to get out of the trade there. But we'll have to wait and see. It's just awfully spready. Yeah, here we go. We're moving up aggressively here. On there we go. We got filled. Oh my goodness already. That's just $1. That's a $1.50 winner right there on that VKTX. This thing is mooning, baby. Please, this punch. Looking for 78s though on this bad boy. I mean, it's just, look at that. Like you, yeah, wow, what a move up. Jeez Louise. Okay, well, who's going to complain about that? That's a winner. So we're going to let that one run. We're going to see if we can get up into 78s. I think my line in the sand might be my entry now because we're curling off that 10 period. And if we're curling off that 10 period, well, then that's got to be my line in the sand because every single bounce so far on my 5-minute chart on VKTX on the 10 period has popped up. So we're almost $2 in the money on this. We're going to see if we can get to 78s. Please just punch on this bad boy. JANX though, doing bupkis and making me worried because it is putting consecutively lower highs. Okay, and I don't like that. Even though we're holding up at 44, this could be a flat bottom break, one that I don't want. Personally. The other one that I would keep looking at here is Carvana. This one, you know, every time you think it's going to curl lower and come into 77s, it tells you, nah. Nice try, bro. And then it pops right back up into 79.50. This could be on its way to 80 bucks again. Again, if you're going to short Carvana, if you're crazy enough to do it like me, make sure you're using like proper risk management principles. I think like 30 some odd % of this name is shorted, and that means, you know, it could get an epic short squeeze to the wrong side. So make sure you are using sound risk management principles there, Adair.
Yeah, no, I think risk management always very important. As I say sometimes, it's not going to be super glamorous when you're talking about a trade.
No.
But it's always going to be very essential, and it will save you from further heartbreak, which we do not want in the already stressful time of trading. And I say that as someone who is admittedly coming at it from a slightly different perspective because I'm still in the sim. But still, you know, trading is emotional, and that's why risk management is very important.
Okay.
Also, Nick W. in the chat was asking about this MGNI, so I pulled this up. So Magnite, yeah, this is the daily chart, and this is really nice. We had this solid not flat bottom, but we had a nice bottom here of that 880 area. What's going on? That 880 area held really well, and also even further interesting to me because it was a previous area of resistance. Coming back into September 6th, Sharif saying to pump it. And I think Magnite, MGNI certainly is. Do you want to talk about the trade?
We're pumping on JANX. That's all we're doing. We're printing on this. It's $2 in the money, baby. That's what it is. We just popped up. So
I wanted to make sure everything was all good there. Congrats to you.
Let's throw something out.
Fabulous look. Also, that VKTX looks pretty good as well. But yeah, this Magnite is basically, we had that bottom of 880, then we started curling, so slightly higher lows. Massive pop today. Yeah, I think honestly that area, basically the main area of interest to me is going to be this range of 880, 960. I think as long as we hold up, because, you know, I say this a lot, this is a huge thing I learned from Sharif and about trading in general, is that support can become resistance, resistance can become support. I think that 960 area could be an interesting area of support for sure. I'm trying to find out why this guy's moving today. Magnite, not seeing much. I'm going to look up where earnings are because it looks like this could be a bit of a pre-earnings move here for this one. Magnite set to report. Okay, tomorrow after market close. So there we go. Congrats to Sharif and the money train there.
We just took $2.50 on JANX in like 3 seconds. I love small cap gappers. Can we trade these all the time? No, I'm kidding.
I can't, but congrats to you.
All right.
But
I'm just in a good mood.
Yeah, no, I'm happy. Congrats. Yeah, I think this MGNI, though, I would say Nick W. is a pretty good look on the daily with these higher lows, and I would be watching kind of this kind of pop into this 10 area, and then also mainly that 960, 880 area for areas of potential resistance and support should this one move back down. I'm going to look at the 5-day as well. So the weekly. Okay. Yeah, the weekly is a little, I mean, we had this massive move down here. This is August 9th. But other than that, I mean, I think the weekly is a bit of I don't want to, pun not intended, but a bit of a weaker look. I would say support on the weekly is that 650. That being said, though, we have still been moving up since November, forming a little bit of a base here at that 950. So yeah, I think this is really like the 960 area is still going to be interesting to me on both the weekly and the daily, but I don't have as strong of a read on the weekly as I do in the daily. I'm going to be honest with you. But like I said, though, the daily, I do like that kind of 950 to 860 range. Also, Tony Price asking about SoFi, and John Szymanski saying go small cap gaps, which is just, yeah, I mean, yeah, go small cap gaps. I just wanted to say that because I think it kind of is the theme of the day. And why not? Also, thank you very much to Michael Mulvey for the support in the chat. Much appreciated. Yeah, trying to learn every day. That's always what I say. This SoFi look is amazing. oof. It's not my type of trade because it's basically higher highs, higher lows. It's very much like the trend type of move. Congrats to anybody involved in this, though. This is a beautiful move. We're brushing into that 9-10 area. Dancing off the 9 EMA, it looks like the 9 EMA, not a bad area for dip buys. Just again, not advice, just my take on the chart. Let me look at the daily here for some areas of support and resistance on SoFi. Oh, my chart crashed. That's okay.
You want me to take over?
No, I think it should be good here. Just so I can finish this quick little analysis here on SoFi. SoFi. I sound very British there.
Sounded very.
But no, yeah, this is okay. SoFi very much curling up from January on. Kind of seeing these higher highs, higher lows, breaking into that 920 area. But I would be cognizant as we get into I accidentally zoomed way in, as we get into 920, because that very much has been an area of resistance in the past. Watch out for 920, but really good SoFi look on SoFi for the day and the week, or sorry, the day, daily and the intraday. How are you doing here?
Very good. We were up $3 in the money on VKTX, now coming back down a little bit though. We already wet our beak there for a move into 76, but it looks like it's gonna come into our entry, and if this breaks 74, that's the end of the trade on there. So we'll lose 44 pennies on the last part there. Should have flattened up at that 77 level, but hey, you can't win them all. Let's see if this one breaks 44. It's trying to hold above that level. 74, excuse me. It's trying to hold above that level. We're back up into 75, but this is moving dollars at a time. And when it's really trying to catch its breath, it's moving 50 pennies at a time. So we'll have to watch this one. I've got a stop on, but look at the spread on this. It's already, opening up a little bit, 15 pennies. Now it's opened up to 25 pennies. So make sure if you're using a stop on this, you're doing one or two things. One, you're either using a market order, which I don't recommend, or you're using a stop limit order with the stop and the limit price being a fair distance from one another in case there is an area of illiquidity there. You can still get filled on a panic move down. So continue to watch this one, but oh man, I got out of JANX way too early. Guys, we took a 2.5 banger on this one, and this one gave you a 4 banger. No. JANX through 48 into 49. Here comes 50. This one's moving. It's up 220% now. Here comes 50. So now 49.75 high a day on this monster. JANX just absolutely squeezing. Wish I had more size on this. We wouldn't have had so many outs first time around, but hey, you can't win them all. This is absolutely pumping 225%, but the one we're holding on at the moment right now, VKTX, making me a little bit worried because it's coming back into my level and I don't want it to break 74, otherwise I'm gonna have to get out.
Yeah, no, sorry, I wasn't. Yeah, no, I think certainly a lot of these small cappers looking really good. I might need to be taking a look at some small caps myself. Right now, though, I got involved in this NVIDIA range trade, and I mean, I'm just going to shrug because I really like the look of this. This is the type of look I really like. As Sharif was mentioning, I like consolidative ranges, and NVIDIA has given you a heck of a consolidative range as of late. Really small position here, I want to note. Usually when I start with these ranges, especially if the thing I am range trading is going to be a Tesla or an NVIDIA, I like to start with a smaller position and then be prepared to size up. If we break above that 788, I'm getting out. So I'm giving myself about a 40 penny range. My profit area, and I don't have enough room to piece out just because I have a really small position here, is going to be that 786.30, which is very much within that area we have been getting in this NVIDIA move up and down. If we see that recovery back at 786, I'm going to jump in the long and I'm going to come right back up. Like I said, this oddly enough was my most successful trade today, and this was a fat finger short. So like I, bruised my ego a little bit, but that's okay. When we get knocked down, we get back up. Nice. We shout out to Jay-Z, we brush that dirt off our shoulders, and we get back in the trade. As Obi says, where's the next trade? This is the only thing I'm seeing right now, this NVIDIA. Well, it's not the only thing I'm seeing, but it's the only thing I'm getting involved in. I am still keeping my eye on Tesla, because some people mentioning Tesla curling up. I think it is too, but like I said, I'm gonna be so cognizant of that 202.40 we're heading into. Because look, we actually had some wicks into that and then fell back in. 202.40 was a massive area of support here for about an hour, and then when we fell with a viciousness. So I think, we keep falling from that 202.40, right? So I don't want to say it's a short just yet. I think Tesla needs some time to, get back in the Cybertruck and get that full self-driving in motion and then decide what direction it wants to go in. Right now, I'm not too sure it knows, with the exception of that 202.40 being a little bit of a sticking point or a bit of a tricky area for this stock to kind of climb above. That's my take here on Tesla. Not saying that it can't recover, but I'm saying right now, I'm going to put it this way. I will not be getting involved until I see what we do at 202.40 decisively. If not, I might short it from 202.40, but Tesla is just so volatile that I don't really want to, mess with the Cybertruck unless I have a clear sense of direction. So that's my take on Tesla. Really just looking at that NVIDIA trade. I'm not looking, I'm in NVIDIA. I'm NVIDIA. So also though, some of those other weight loss related sympathy plays, Novo Nordisk getting kind of interesting for me. Higher highs, higher lows. I want to wait and see that break above that 122.20 because that would be another higher high. We've kind of been a little bit stagnant. We fell back around 1045. So if we see another break above that 122.20 and then we get another trough, I might get involved, but I'm not holding my breath on that. We got out of NVIDIA. I am so happy. I don't want to say please as punch because I say that a lot, but I am. I'm good with that trade. Where's the next trade? How are you doing over here? Thank you very much.
We're well. We're doing well. We're holding on for the rest of the trade on VKTX. Disappointed in myself for not having more on JANX, but that's neither here nor there. I wanted to tell you guys about this channel. I know that we always have newer viewers that are joining or viewers that haven't been with our channel in a while. We have a new channel that we launched. It's on a different account though. It's called More Trader TV, and as you can see, it's data only. So you can see Sean's positions here on the right. All his entries and his exits, the way that he's been shorting AMD and the Qs. You see Neil over here in Fisker, in what's it called? Carnival Cruise, short Intel, short Affirm, all his entries and exits. And then Adair is nice enough to put the economic calendar in there so you know what Fed is dropping, what hotline at what time. And then the top stocks in the day. And then thanks to Trade Ideas, they show us the scanner there with the two biggest names, VKTX and JANX showing up there. And those are the only two that I've been trading on. Well, I traded Apple earlier today. And then obviously on the bottom is the ticker there with all the latest headlines. Make sure to get this channel and you're running it all day for the latest in the market, Adair. And then somebody was like, can you guys talk about the market? And I'm more than happy to oblige. I'm just worried about my VKTX breaking through 74. I've already put my stop on the other side. So if it breaks, well, hopefully I'll get stopped out. The NQ. Very important here. Let's talk a little bit about the NQ because you heard Neil saying, if it was not above 18,000 today, then he was really not looking for too many longs. Well, we've broken down now below 18,000 and we've been putting in sequentially lower highs and lower lows, a bit of a downward channel off that 18,040 pop. That was the overnight high. However, the IB high at the open this morning only took us to about 18,026, 27 in and around that area, so 18,000 and a quarter. We are coming in to yesterday's closing print on the NQ, which is 17,977, so about 17,9 3/4. We have been getting some bounces off that level. We'll wait and see whether or not we can stay positive on the NQ on the day. Right now, looking like we may be on the way down, but we'll have to wait and see what we get here. So keeping an eye on the future, keeping an eye on the Mag 7 names. The Mag 7 names to me have been kind of they're not my cup of tea on the day. Let me just look here quickly. So it looks like I got stopped out of JNX. That's all right. We give back a little bit there, not that much. Still profitable, very profitable on it. So I'm pleased about that. But with respect to the Mag 7 names, to me, this is not my kind of trading day with Mag 7. Like, look at how Amazon super sideways. Like, Adair's probably salivating at this sideways movement here on Amazon. Even though it is down to the right a little bit, lower highs, this is not what I look for in my trade. Like, I don't like this range type trading. Meta, also the same thing here. Only $2 of range on a $400, almost $500 name. Softy's coming into an interesting area though. So it's coming into that 4 or 5 area where it's found support multiple times. So maybe we'll look at Softy here. But again, yeah, these Mag 7 names they're not my cup of tea on the day. I think there's a lot of other stuff to trade. We got Carvana, we got Beam. Beam's coming in to VWAP as well. That would be interesting. It's up 27% on the day. CXAI, I know people have been mentioning that in the chat. That's above VWAP, above the pre-market high. That looks awfully good as well. So multiple names here. We don't need to fixate on the Mag 7, especially when the market's been giving us opportunities elsewhere. Going to keep an eye on that, Adara.
Yeah, no, it's funny, as you say, nobody said in the Meg 7. I'm still in the Meg 7. I got in this NVIDIA long, although it does feel a little bit like, I don't even want to say playing with fire. It feels like playing with a hand grenade or something. This is holding up really well, mind you, around my area of interest, and we just got to move up. So that is how, you know, wild NVIDIA is doing. I know usually that wick shimmy dance is reserved for the futures, but NVIDIA doing a bit of a wick shimmy dance with that 786. Decided to take it for now. I am really cognizant though. I'm basically watching this 785.60 area that we had earlier here, this dip. We actually held that pretty well. We came right into it, had a little nice bounce, so staying here. But I think after this long, I'm going to be exclusively looking at just getting this down from that just shy of 788 area because it looks like we are making lower highs. And honestly, the short just feels like a better look right now than the long. I say that as someone who's currently in the long, but you know, ranges can fail. As we've said, that's one thing I'm really trying to learn and be more cognizant of. I think I'm going to basically, if we get back to 780, 649, I'm going to take this whole thing out. I've kind of changed my tune on this a little bit, but that's okay. I mean, I don't want to take it out right now because we haven't filled that area yet. But basically, you know, that's what I say about scalpulation. Having an idea going into the trade and being willing to adapt that idea if the stock tells you, hey, I don't want this anymore. If the stock tries to break up with you, you got to accept that. But, you know, try to make sure that you can, you know, make sure you get your things back from the stock before the breakup, right? So that's going to be my analogy there.
Like it.
We'll see if NVIDIA is you know, kind to me, but that's kind of the look on that trade. Also, some mentions of Google in the chat, GOOGL specifically. So yeah, I'll look at this Google. Okay, yeah, Google, whew, we had that double bottom at that 137.65, and then we kind of get back up here. We don't make a new high. We continue to make lower highs and lower lows, with the exception of this kind of double bottom and then move back up here into that 138.05. Honestly, probably not a bad short if you short the pops on this, so I'm going to be cognizant of that. NVIDIA getting a bit dicey, but still within my area of intrigue, so I'm not going to leave that yet. Tesla also getting into this area here, that 202.40, and it keeps rejecting down. Why am I not paying more attention to Tesla? That might actually be the move here, this Tesla short off that 202.40. I need to be cognizant of that. Also, you were mentioning Amazon. Yanis in the chat also was saying, Adara, look at Amazon if you like ranges. And, ooh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you said salivating. I'm not going to disagree. I like the range share. I know you just said there's more than the Meg 7, but I do like these Meg 7 looks. And I'm going to have to, you know, if I see a nice opportunity in this range, I want to wait and see how it behaves a little bit longer. And also, I want to be out NVIDIA before I do anything else. But I do like the look of this Amazon range for sure. And we just got out NVIDIA, so now it's time for new opportunities. How are you doing here? How are the small caps?
Fantastic. I want to look at Santa for somebody who asked me here in the chat. This is the chart. So this is the daily chart. So you can tell we're coming from that $44 level. And then in basically March of 2022, we got to that $10 level. And since that time, we haven't been able to break 10 bucks. So this has kind of been range bound with, let's say, $3 to the low side and 10 bucks to the high side. So for almost 2 years now, we've been in a $7 range sideways. However, something new has come in to possibly throw a curveball. So this came in the day before Valentine's Day on the 13th. Sana Biotechnology announces publication of preclinical diabetes data in stem cell demonstrating insulin independence following transportation of hypoimmune allergenic primary whatever. You guys get it. Now, since that time, when this was released was on the 13th, look where we have pumped up from. So we came from that $6 into that $9. We're about up 50% since that time. So great looking daily chart. Now, is this tradable on an intraday perspective? For me, it's not, right? I mean, this is not what I'm looking for on an intraday look, but if you're asking me about a swing trade on this one, I think it looks awfully good, especially if it breaks through that $10 area, but pack your patience and also have a contingency plan for a fake out breakout through 10. What would you do in that case and where would you get out? I forget the person who asked me for this particular review. But with respect to trading on the day, it's an 881 dip trade. Possibly it's been holding VWAP quite well, essentially since around 10:30. So going on about an hour and 10 minutes or so, it's been bouncing off VWAP. It's been providing you with like 10, 15 pennies worth of range. If that floats your boat and you're good to go with that, kill it. But it's not a day trading stock for me. It's more of a swing based upon where it currently is. Trading and the catalyst that we got a while back. So that is my look on that. Now, with respect to the two that I was trading before, VKTX now dropping below 74 and almost dipped into 72. So very happy with my stop on this one after that $2 banger. And then JANX. I was lamenting not having had more, taking this one through 50 all the way right back down below my exits. But look at this, it's finding support at 45 and shooting right back up into 47. This one is presenting you with multiple opportunities, 210%. It's above VWAP, it's above the pre-market high. It's got a headline, a catalyst. So it's got all the check marks beside its name. So trade this carefully, though, because it is steady, 18 pennies right now on the spread. And it's awfully volatile. You saw what it did there. It just popped up from 44 into 50 within a matter of minutes. Carvana, the other one I keep looking at, and look at this one, just broke through 80 like it didn't even matter. And it gave you a buck. So if you were waiting for that 80 breakout, which was the previous area of resistance that we hit at around 1035, it didn't even retrace on you. My goodness, look at that. Directional one way for Carvana now up 15.25%. Could we see $100 on this thing? I mean, this thing was just at, where were we on this? Like 40 bucks, 50 bucks?
Yeah, yeah. I remember like at least like maybe a week ago, 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
So yeah, this fantastic look on Carvana. To me, a bit harder to trade here because it's not. It gave you an initial pullback, and that pullback kind of caused me to think that we were going to get a lower high and a flat bottom break. And so I had a bias, and as a result of my bias, I didn't look at it the way I should for possible long. I kept seeing the short rather than, seeing what was there rather than what I want to see. So Carvana continuing to print, man. I mean, I'm not going to punch in at these highs, but on its way up through 81. Dang. Nick Dubb, TTD, Elliott wave theory move. TTD. All right. Is that?
Desk?
Let's find out.
Yeah.
Apparently. Trade.
Oh.
Yeah. Let's see what this is doing. All right, Elliott wave theory. Are you talking about the intraday, Nick Dubb, or are you talking about the daily?
I think it's usually the daily or weekly.
Well, yeah, kind of. You got the big move up. There's, yeah. Well, this thing over here is distorting. Tell me what you're looking at, Nick, and then maybe we'll have a second peek at Trade Desk and see what we can see and try to get something in the wild, so to speak, Adair.
Oh, we love finding patterns in the wild. We know that over here on How to Trade. One of our favorite things is it's easier to kind of identify things when you actually have a live, living, breathing example. I know Lee Auto weirdly provides a lot of in the wild examples. And I know part of that is because I know that's a stock you look at a lot, but also because like we had the Elliott waves with Lee Auto. I know there was another example of price movement with Lee Auto. So, certain stocks are a little bit, it says it's intraday. Nick W saying it's intraday for Trade Desk for the Elliott wave. So I apologize there. I was incorrect on that.
Oh, should I have a look? Yeah, well, let's see. Okay, so I don't personally think this is an Elliott wave. But look, I mean, two people can look at the same thing and see different things, which is absolutely fine. What I see here is a big move up and a consolidation and accumulation area above VWAP. That's what I see. So intraday, this could be interpreted as a bull flag. You could say it's just a strong move up and then a sideways consolidation. We need that continuation through the top of the bull flag for it to really be a bull flag because it's supposed to be a continuation pattern and you're supposed to be able to project the same move up from the top of the bull flag that you got from the initial move to the top, right? So I know it was kind of a convoluted way of saying it, but if you were to look at the bull flag from starting from here, from around 82.30, then from here to about 85, that's basically the range, from 82.30 to 85. And then so once you break through that 85 top, you should be able to project that same move up through there. So I don't necessarily think this is what I would want to use in as an example of Elliott waves, but it's still a great looking trade on the day. No question about that. What is TDD up to percentage-wise today? Of course, it's not going to show me. 3 1/3%, not bad. Does it have a catalyst? Anything? Is it reporting earnings soon? Let's find out. Nothing that I can see here. No catalyst, no report. So, yeah. Flat top break and Elliott wave theory move. Okay, Adam, going through another brainstorm with my algorithm. We are doing phenomenal year to date, 39.6%. Shout out to you, Adam. Ooh. I know you run multiple algos on multiple platforms there. Nick Dubb, can you explain the difference? Well, one is a chart pattern and one is the Elliott wave theory. I mean, they're two separately entire things. You know, Elliott waves usually encompasses multiple moves, where chart pattern is just, you could look at it as a one piecemeal move, right? Obviously, it's made up of multiple moves, multiple candles, but Elliott waves usually takes things a little longer, right? Where you have that huge move up, and then again, we've got wave 1, which is supposed to be shorter than wave 3 here, and we typically have a drop, a correction, not an accumulation, whereas when we're looking at TD here, we have that big move up rim, and then we have a sideways move, which is a period of consolidation, right? Not the retracement back. So, you know, just because we're teaching you stuff on the day doesn't, you know, mean we're going to see it in real life. That's why I tried to spot some examples using the SPX and Lee so that we could see some examples in law. It's kind of hard to find like live at the same time. It is at the same space as MGNI, which is reporting today. All right, we'll have a look at that later. We got to look at some other stuff right now. So CXAI is the other one that I'm looking at right now. This is up big as well, 85% to the good, just touched $3, and giving you a nice opportunity now, possibly south of 3 before the big move up. Now, how would you bamboozle your way into this trade if you were to trade like me, which is not wanting to punch in at highs? Where would be the level where I could possibly get in over here? So let's have a look at the side chart. Well, VWAP is far too removed from the current price action right now. VWAP is hanging around a little bit below the $0.50, around 243, and we already got a VWAP bounce at around 1110 or so. So I'm not really inclined to put an order for VWAP. What I could do, let's see here, is put one at the 10 EMA, which is around 270. But when I look over here, it didn't really respect the 10 EMA all that much. You had closing prints south of it, even though on the way up, it was holding the 10 EMA. So maybe we could kind of meet in the middle somewhere in between 10 EMA and VWAP, maybe around that 260 area, give or take. Now, this one could go without me. We could get the break of 3 without retracing back into the 2/3 area, which is fine. Right now, the high is 299 on it, though. CXAI, good looking stock. Let's see what the details are on this, by the way. Let's find out what the float is. About 14 million share float, 13.9. Let's find out what the short float, if any, is on CXAI. XAI. Negligible, about 2 1/3%. Nothing really to write home about. So we'll continue to watch this one, and maybe I'll put a dip trade in and around that 2 2/3.
Yeah, I found that CXAI really confounding because I was trying to find stuff on that because, you know, it's one of the ones that was moving while I was at the big desk. And it was moving with the viciousness. And yeah, float not significantly small, short float not significantly large, no specific catalyst. It might just be part of the overall AI hype. But I'm happy I'm not the only one who was like, huh? Or the Scooby-Doo face at that CXAI. So we're certainly all in this boat. Also, Elon here with a really interesting comment that I would love to talk about. Thank you very much. Here saying, hi, Sharif and Adira. Hi, Elon.
Hello.
Chat. Great lesson in Elliott Wave. Thank you. Shout out to Sharif for killing it there. About CVNA, what do you think pumping the stock higher, or I guess what do you think about pumping the stock higher despite activist letter about companies' inflated profit metrics? Yeah, so I actually have some thoughts on that. So that was, one thing too moving up Carvana I want to add as well is that we did have 3 price target increases today. Evercore ISI, Morgan Stanley. The other one was, Deutsche Bank, already said Evercore. So yeah, lots of price target increases here for CVNA. That could also certainly be something to note here as well. But also what I want to address with CVNA with that short float is I think it could be because this one is already kind of a short squeeze name, right? So potentially, and again, take this with a grain of salt. This is just my take on it, right? Because Carvana already has the insane short float, because it was already moving up, this coming out right at 9:30 could have given these people trying to short squeeze an extra boost, hearing that there are more people short. Do you know what I mean? Like in a way, the short squeeze could be fueling the fire. And you know, who knows that the ongoing move for this, right? But at least today, this move from 70 into 82, which is, as Sharif said, wild, could be buoyed by the fact that, to use a word that we use a lot here, it could be buoyed by the fact that we did have this short float coming out from Kerrisdale Capital. So I just wanted to put that out there. That's my take. you know, I can't say for sure that's accurate, or that's just my analysis, and again, not advice, just my take. It could be the fact that the addition of this short report, in addition to other short selling already very prevalent in the stock, could be running this up. So that would be my take. Also, NVDA running. Shout out to Jordan saying that they're doing very well in this trade, so congrats to you. Yeah, remember when I was like, oh, it's gonna stop running, I'm gonna get out at 786.50. Yeah, NVIDIA said, oh, bye-bye then. Ran up another $4, congrats to, or I guess $5 now. Congrats to anybody still in this, Jordan, anybody else still killing this name, because what a look here. I'm gonna be watching and seeing what we do with that 794, because that was that earlier peak, but NVIDIA has claimed all these other levels and not looked back. Even what, 790, I guess we had a little bit of a move into 791, then back into 790. But other than that, honestly, not much retracement here. Big move up for NVIDIA. Anyone who's in NVIDIA looks like a nice WinVIDIA to the upside.
I like it. Also, yeah, Amazon I'm still kind of eyeing here, because Amazon was looking kind of short. Neil pointed out in the chat, could be a potential flat bottom break here at that 173.95. So thank you very much for pointing that out. But now Amazon trying to make a new higher high. So I think this is really confounding, because it's no longer rangy in a way I enjoy.
So true.
I'm going to have to be sending Amazon back to the sender there. We're going to have to return to sender. I don't think it's going to deliver the kind of price action I'm looking for in this Amazon trade. But yeah, Nick W. also, I think, was in the chat, I believe, is calling out some potential bullish move on Amazon. So really good call on your end. I think this one, just because I don't have a good read on it and it's not ranging the way I like, I'm going to have to say no for the time being. I did have this IWM scalp, too, that I want to address really quickly before throwing it back here. This one, again, like I said, I liked the whole dip opportunity. I shorted this on the rip. Then I bought into the dip here at this 203.85, added a little bit at 203.80s, and then I got out as we got into 204. Still climbing, so this is a nice look. But I have this IWM in my side chart, and every time it comes into a dip, I'm like a little, trying to hunt for buy opportunities there. So that's my take.
Take this opportunity to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You won't be disappointed. There's lots of bangs.
Why was it choppy a little bit there?
The close-up at the end, though, before the lots of bangs.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know. I was like, yeah, well, we can't do that anymore, can we? Yeah? No. So, yeah, shout out to the Katina, man. Make sure to like and subscribe, baby. Here's another look at VKTX. The reason I'm still looking at this is because it put in a bottoming tail candle. It looks like a really aggressive hammer candle here. We had that descent into VWAP. It does break VWAP by a couple of shekels, breaks that 70 area, comes down into more than a couple of shekels by a buck, comes down, it's about 69 bucks, and then you get a new 5-minute candle to make a new high, and it's above VWAP, so this is looking awfully good. Usually we see a bit of an aggressive retracement when you see a candle of this type over here, the hammer candles, where it dips down aggressively, and then the body is very much near the very top of the candle, and it's an elongated lower wick, which showing you that buyers are saying, no, you don't. And they step up and overwhelm sellers to the high side, and this is what it kind of looks like on the 1 minute. But what I want is a decided print above 75, where we get that actual closing print, not just a quick wick up and a quick wick down. You're gonna have to be really careful if you're trading VKTX, either with size or stops here, because it's moving dollars at a time. So, obviously it's a $75 stock, and you have to make sure to appropriately size, but it's not just about the price here, it's about the movements that are coming with the larger price. VKTX up 100%, guys. Shekel is about 27 cents, says Havana Woody, but you know what I mean. I mean it interchangeably with the dollar. I don't actually mean it in the Forex way. That's funny, though. Thank you for letting me know.
I like that.
What else we got over here? We didn't cut off the laugh, by the way, Alex says. I think it was just choppy. I'm not sure why it's choppy. It's never been choppy before. The Katina Man's like and subscribe ad there. So.
Yeah, they didn't want to hear him laugh, apparently. I don't know who they is, the worst.
Yeah. Can you believe what we're doing on Carvana here, Dara? 18% on Carvana, $82.50 coming in. This thing is an absolute rocket ship. I mean, it's just, oh, wow. There it goes. New high a day. We're continuing to print newer high days. It's having trouble breaking through the $0.50, but only for probably a few more seconds until it comes into 83 or 84. Let's do some charting here on the daily to figure out where we could encounter a major area of resistance on Carvana. So it's a rocket ship.
as of late, but let's see here. Okay, so, I mean, it's the $100 area. There's really no other resistance level until we get into 100 bucks. Look at this area over here. This goes back to March 2022. So essentially 2 years ago, almost 2 years, was the last time we were up at 100 bucks on Carvana. It's been the winter for this. This dropped down into single digits, guys, in late 2022, early 2023. We were at like 5-something bucks. And look, keep in mind, look where we were. $375 at the height of the pandemic. So this is volatility embodied over here. Where were we up the lows? Yeah, we were at $3.
No.
Yes. I'm not kidding.
I believe it. I'm just shocked.
It's nuts. It's nuts. And anyway, ever since June of last year, we've been putting in higher highs and higher lows. You'll recall Max and I trading this on the midday last year as well. Max was very well known to be in Carvana a lot. And yeah, well, this bad boy is back and printing quite aggressively here. I just don't know how to get in on this trade. I can't chase it at highs like this. It's just not my style.
Yeah, Carvana driving back onto the scene for
Clearly.
sure with the viciousness. Oh my God.
It is.
Beat, make some room. So I was talking about that when we were at 17% to the upside like 5 minutes ago, and Carvana was like, hold my keys, we're gonna go up to 19. So
it's going up again. There goes 83.
No.
83.50 incoming. Yeah, it's unreal. It's unreal.
I have no words. I also did pull up here Jesse Duong saying, please take a look at Sound and Pan W. Thank you. You're welcome. And thank you for the please and thanks. But yeah, this Pan, I actually do like this look as Palo Alto Network. I like that we have lower highs and lower lows. What I don't like is about the 13-penny spread. Now, I'm used to these larger spreads from the Wild West of Eli Lilly, but I'm trying to get away from that a little bit because I find I get chopped up, as is common. But that being said, like regardless, I think we are seeing lower highs, lower lows. The one area, though, I'm absolutely keeping an eye on is that 315. Why? Because we had that base for a while there, that 315 support, starting in 1035 and basically lasting until around 11:30, then that area becomes a really strong area of resistance, that 315. So I think whatever's happening with Pan W, 315 desperately wants to be a part of it. So I would be really cognizant of that level on the intraday. And I know in the daily, this one has, I mean, this one, honestly, we had a really good day yesterday as well, recovering from that earnings move down. I think when we actually have that final immaculate gap fill, that will be a big day for Pan W, really strong movement. Decided that it did not want to stay at that 270. It wanted to turn its life around, and wow, it did. Already up $35 from that point. Let's also look at Sound for Jesse here. Yeah, Sound also, much like Carvana, got a short report today. This one from Capillary Research. But yeah, Sound just kind of going into that 710 area. That has been an area of resistance. But now we should have no resistance for our next person coming on here, who is Neil, with his lesson of the day.
Welcome to today's lesson of the day. You're going to get the real deal on something that's always important. You know, we sort of talked about limiting losses before, but like taking profit, there's no such thing as a bad way to make a winning trade. If you gain in a trade, PLO goes up, then you've had a success. But there's always a way to refine your exit points so that you can try to maximize it as you go along. And I want to say this from the beginning. This is a process for all traders, and it has to fit within your own trading style. We went over in a previous video that you can check out like what that trading style might be, find something that suits yourself. What kind of a trader are you? Scalp trading? Are you intraday swing trading? Are you someone that likes to hold for the bigger moves, or are you somebody that wants to trade within a defined range? So you've got to set things up. Are you a technical trader? If you're highly technical, you've got to understand reasons in technical, reasons out technical. So it always starts from getting those definitions. So first things first, what type of a trade are you in, and can you define some expectations off of it? So I'm going to give you an example of a trade here that actually took this morning, and it's more of a range-bound idea. So let me go to a 15-minute to really exemplify this point. If my thesis for getting into the trade on a stock like Intel here is there is a defined top right around $43.50 the last few days, and a defined bottom, right around 42, call it 60, so 43.5 to about 42.5, roughly speaking. You've had a defined range that it's been sitting in. If this is the reason for taking the trade, answer here would be yes, then my expectations are going to be defined by what it has done before. So if you get the short every single day, if you've gotten the short early, it is retraced at least toward the bottom, and then a couple of lower highs. You've gotten down around that 42.5, with one exception at 42.8 that happened the day before. So if you notice, I'm getting short underneath the high, but making sure that I'm holding some shares, might take some out for 1-to-1 scalps and 2-to-1, but then holding shares for that bottom, for it to get to that low. So you might be taking a piece out, but if you're too aggressive in the first 15, 20 cents of a 50-cent range, when the market has told you, if it rejects here, it's getting all the way to the bottom eventually, then I've got to hold something for that bottom. Now, in a range-bound trade, it's a little bit easier to see when you are breaking into a new range. Let's just say here, had it gone to the upside and was breaking out this top, then you'd have a break outside of the range, and you don't have clear defined levels. You've got a gigantic gap to be filled on the upside. So the approach for me, had this been a breakout long above 43.50, is I think you could say, oh, well, the gap fills in about 44.5. So there's $1 of potential upside in that trade. Breakout trades, when you consolidate, can be a little bit more explosive, but it's not as simple as I'm going to hold everything for $1. I don't think that's a reasonable approach. Why? Because it spent 3 days. If you count today, it's counted 4 days inside of this range. So what I then do is look at the previous breakdown from here, 44.4, into what was the support, that dollar, and essentially chop it into quartiles. Because there is no perfect way to fill in that gap. It could go halfway, it could go all the way, but I want to make sure that I'm locking in profit so when it goes that first quarter and then goes that half, which remember, it's been a tighter range down in here, I'm going to be taking profit out on the way up. Now, once you've done that, and I call it scratching the itch, you can start to refine using potentially other technical indicators out there. When you don't have levels to work off of, you are trying to refine your strategy over and over again. Now, the beauty of trading is you might end up having some key price levels to work off of ultimately. I purposefully did not zoom this one out so that you couldn't see what we had lying here. You had a close at 43.70. You had a lower high in that gap before, in this same range, at 44.10. And then you had another double top close at 44.5. So in my style of trade, if I had nothing to go off of, you might go into the quartiles by random. Otherwise, I want to look to hold to the next gap in key level. I'd like to play off support and resistance, so I play the ranges, hold till the next key level, cover if it does any kind of a slowdown in that range. When it gets to the next key level, cover if it does any slowdown within that range, and then sort of work the trade in that fashion. The other thing that I try to do is, if I've defined a counter trend trade, and sometimes I'll show you ones that work and ones that don't, and I'm going to show you Unity here, which was good idea, but didn't end up winning for me. Is what it is. We had the short. It came off the top. When we say define the trade, if I'm going counter trend, I'm never expecting personally to hit the gigantic home run. So one of the trades in my toolbox is a mean reversion short at a key price level. If it's against the trend, my target is opening range bottom or VWAP. To give an example of what that looks like for taking profit, zoom back out in the chart. There is the 31 potential support from before. Stock is trending up. It curls off of that 31 area. I'm looking for the short off of that high, and I want the opening range bottom or VWAP. So the opening range bottom is your breakout price here at 29.50. And then VWAP was just sitting right around, at the time it was sitting a little bit higher than that 29.50. But if it's counter trend trading, I always have a hard target, understanding that it is going higher. So when short in a 31, I'm not thinking it's going all the way down to 28. I want to be taking profit. If I'm risking 40, 50 cents, I want to make sure I can get that move down to 29.5. It happens to be 3-to-1, but I'm getting shares out at 1-to-1, 2-to-1, and into that 3-to-1 because I've got myself a defined out technically. If you are using technicals to get in, you want to use technicals to take profits. There are other examples of this where I think you, generally speaking, want to have something on board for the home run. An example of that would be a squeeze name like Carvana. Obviously, this is an 18% move up. It's far outpacing most other moves. On the daily chart, I always zoom out, and if you're long this stock today, it's already broken away from this level on the daily at 62, 63. It's about $20 higher from there. Today's move is another breakout of $76 to the top. So let's say you're in the 76 breakout to the long side. What would I be looking for some profits? Well, when it was breaking away from 62, what was the range? There's your 66, there's your 76, there's your 66, there's your 76. Recurring theme here, that's about $10 to the upside. So yes, if it's breaking out 76, am I covering something in front of 80? Almost always. Would I be covering something in front of 84? Almost always. You had a consolidation at 74, 1-to-1 is the first $2, 2-to-1 is the next two. That said, once it's broken 80, the last hold to me is till $86. Because that is the expected range off of that break. So it's all about what are your reasons for getting in or out. I like to use the actual ranges that the stock has shown me before because that's often the reason I'm getting into a trade. If you use Fibonacci's to get in, then use Fibonacci's as your exit points. If you use moving averages, then you want to back test, okay, well, when it bounces off this moving average, what percentage of the average true range might it have gone through? Those are the types of things you want to keep in mind there. And then one last thing for you. You might be trading using some kind of a leading indicator. If that is the case, this is a wrinkle that sometimes I'll put in there when talking about big cap tech names. If I have a reason such as I like the short on NVIDIA and it's trending in one direction or the other, but I like the short if the market can't get above X or Y. And today it happened to be the 18,000 level. If I see too much strength in what I'm using as leading indicator, it might be SOX, it can be a million different other things. If I see too much strength in my leading indicator, that can be a reason to take profit on its own. Whether or not the stock has gotten to my target or not, if my reason for getting in has confluence with either an ETF that tracks with the stock I'm trading or the overall market, which is loosely following it. Maybe it can be Bitcoin and Mara, whatever that might be. I might simply be taking profit because I'm expecting a reversal due to that leading indicator giving me the indication. So you've got to define that trade. If part of the reason for getting in is a leading indicator, then that needs to be something you listen to on the way out. If you're trading within a defined range, then you want to listen to the key prices within that range and take profit, not hoping it goes further, but understanding that, okay, it's got to that first break level, then I need to get something out. But I should be holding something for the entirety of the range while the trend is working. As always, make sure you back test and fit your profits and fit your targets to your style of trading. If you're not somebody that sits there and holds for the home runs successfully, then you work towards that. But do what works for you is the best advice that any trader can ever get. There's no such thing as a wrong way to take profits, but fitting it to your style of trade is always going to lead to better trades for you. That's the real deal in your lesson of the day. It's always good when to take profits, but you can still get better.
Shout out to Neil, informative and insightful as always, sir. Thank you so much for that. As Neil was dropping his lesson of the day, we did take a trade on CXAI, up about 100% so far. We took that 280 dip and then we were able to wet our beak there into about 315. So nice little trade right now. I'm a third small cap gapper on the day. It's been a small cap gapper type of day for me anyway, and maybe we'll try to repeat
on this name. It is still continuing to head up. Whoever asked me in the chat if it is Max trading Carvana, yes, he is. He is currently in it at the moment, baby. So watch out. Dipping into 82 bucks. 82 was a nice little bit of a local top there. Had trouble breaking through 82 for whatever reason. You break into 83, and now we're coming right back into 82 again. Look for possibly here 82 to hold. If 82 doesn't hold, what I'll be looking for is how we act at 80. We initially had a crest there at 80, and then we broke through it around 1140 or so. So if we do make it back down, I want to see what we do at 80 bucks. But a lot of strength in this name. Goodness gracious, up 17.75% today. What a move up on Carvana. The boring man, Zoom now bouncing after retest. Let's check out Zoom. That's one of the ones I haven't really looked at all today, to be quite honest with you. Let me bring in the side chart over here. We'll have a look at it on the side chart. We have SOUN from yesterday. We can replace that with Zoom. All right. So Zoom was an earnings winner, but like I said to Brenda when we sat at the big desk today, I'm like, wow, look at that move up. The algo spike off that 63. Where'd it close? It closed at 63 and change yesterday. And then we popped up all the way to 72. And then look, we basically retraced almost the entire move, 65, but still putting in a higher low than was the closing print yesterday. So even though it does give back a majority of the move from the aftermarket yesterday, we still have a higher low. Now it's at 68 bucks, and it's kind of, encountering resistance a little bit there, putting in this, looks like to be, what do they call this? What is it, an evening star? Forget the name of that. Anyway.
It's a star. A star is
yeah,
born.
some sort of star. Breaking through VWAP, though, you do have a consolidation area here in the pre-market. Again, in the pre-market means on lighter volume at around 67.75, 68. The dips at that level will all bought up, and then you had the IB high there at 69.50. So Carvana has been, Zoom has been a good look on the day. Excuse me. I'd like a break and a decided break through this level, though, before I would be interested in getting along. But yeah, great look on Zoom. I'll keep that on the side chart there.
Yeah, no, that we love the side charts in here because it really, like, you can just look over and be like, oh my gosh, that thing's moving, right? So very, very helpful indeed, and very much something I appreciate. And yeah, always shout out to having side charts. One of the first things that Sharif said when I first was starting to do the middays, make sure you have your side charts ready. And so since then, I have found them very invaluable indeed. What's not been so invaluable, or I guess like it's just been, very bad. I couldn't find a good transition. This Tesla situation was, whew. So I got involved in this short. Literally, Sharif was sitting here watching me, and he was like, are you okay? Because I guess I look deeply traumatized by stress level, which, I mean, maybe I was. But no, in all seriousness, I got involved around that 201.90 area for the short because I was trying to take it back into this this 201.40. Basically, my theory for this was lower highs, higher lows, lower lows, lower highs, and we were having such a hard time with the 202.40 area. So I said, we're going to take it until 202.40. We broke up 202.40. I got out right there, no problems there. Then I got back in because actually after that little bit of a move up, we came back into 202.40. Then I took about 5 cents. I said, Adara, your heart is not in it right now for this Tesla trade. If you could not give Stressel your all, you just need to be in another trade. Because, as Sean says, a scared trader is a deficient trader. And me being scared in a stock like Tesla is just not a good look. So, just being really honest here about these trades. Also, this one was a little fat finger situation, this teeny tiny short. I just want to address this one. But the rest of them were legit trades, or like legit, and they didn't work out well, mind you, except for, ironically, the fat fingers trade. But overall, that's kind of the situation. If we bounce off this 201.90, though, that area that we had some chop and turn earlier, I will take this long into 202.40, but I need to wait and see. Oh, yeah. And as I say that, it goes farther low. So I'm going to take the hands off the wheel here and let Tesla decide where it's going to go from this point. Also, NVIDIA trying to get a nice little bounce here at least in the 3-minute, which I'm going to switch to kind of show what I mean. This 791 area could be interesting for NVIDIA. It's off the 90 MA, which is kind of a little bit of an opportunity earlier. And B, look where we had this little pause before breaking back above with a vengeance and that 791 area. So I think the 791 could be interesting. Not really sure it's my type of trade in that it's kind of a little less rangy and more just kind of previous areas of support and resistance. However, we did kind of come into this area earlier today. That 90 MA bounce has been decent all day, so I'll keep an eye on it, but I don't want to, commit. I don't want to go all in NVIDIA just yet. I need to make sure I plan my life out properly first. Yeah, yeah, the All In podcast. Also, speaking of podcasts, watch our podcast. Really great talks this week, and I've been working through this one while doing my hair and makeup as I do. And honestly, yeah, Sean and Brendan killing it. As always, lots of really good conversations. I really enjoyed that question as well about who would you rather be in an elevator with, Aunt Kathy or Uncle Warren?
Oh,
And
that's
so I think that
hell
was,
of a question.
Yeah, really, and interesting, different answers too, and different reasonings from both Brendan and Sean. So absolutely, I don't want to give any spoilers, but I know Sean discussed it yesterday on the afternoon show, and I absolutely think always stuff worth checking out here on the Markets podcast.
I like how you threw in the hair part there, because I always personally had questions as how long it took you to do your makeup, because it's like an hour long pod, right?
Yeah.
There's no way you're sitting there for it. But the hair part I get. That could be a little bit of a longer endeavor.
So actually, no.
No?
Because
Okay.
my hair is like, it has a personality of its own.
Okay.
So it's a ponytail, and it takes usually under 1 minute.
Okay.
If I want to get like, a little fancier with it, then we'll take, slightly longer. But yeah, no, I think the makeup, even then the makeup, because I think we had this conversation with Neil once as well. Usually it takes me like under 15, 20 minutes. Like if it takes more than 15 minutes, I'm like,
Are you listening to
But-
the podcast at like 5 times speed then? What's going on?
no, well, I don't watch the whole podcast every time. We like pace it out. I wasn't trying to, all right, sorry, I just
Teasing
got
you
excited.
there. I gotta bust your chops. Come on.
But yeah, no, that would be 5 times speed. I don't know if I'd be getting anything.
Yeah,
out of it,
no,
right?
straight
'Cause
up, right?
Really,
Yeah.
my logic with it, and I think I mentioned this in the week that we did our news, is that what I like to do is I like to kind of have, my brain is kind of processing the info through osmosis while I'm doing this other task ahead of work, right?
like
So I'm
that.
already getting into market
Good
mode.
move.
So that's kind of my logic with it. But yeah, and honestly, all jokes aside, seriously check out the podcast. Really good
Yeah.
time. Brendan and
Yes.
Sean working really hard. Sean right now seems excited about a trade. I can't
He's
tell.
yelling
He's
at
super
it. He's
excited
telling
about
it to
the
get
trade.
down.
So,
What's up, Katina, man? $2 Nvidia, and something's coming down here because the market's tanking too. Remember we were just talking about Wick Shimmy Dance
Yeah.
at 18,000? Well, we gave up the ghost at 18,000. Say it again. The Katina man is now $2 in the money on Nvidia and $1 in the money on the Qs. Make sure to check out the other channel, Katina man. 50 cents in the money AMD. They're coming in fast. They're coming in furious. They're all shorts, I'm assuming, right? All red, baby. It's a short kind of day on these Mag 7 names. I mean, just have a look at what we're looking at here. Here's the chart, Ram. And everything is down and to the right without exception, Ram. Can we show the charts? Yes, amazing. Everything down and to the right, guys. Really nothing. I mean, the only one that's not down and to the right, to be fair, is NVIDIA. It tried to move back up into pivot points at 794, but it looks like it may be now giving up the ghost at 790, headed back down. But everything else is making a move down and to the right. I would say the NVIDIA is really the only exception there. All right, Lone. Shout out to Lone Sophos. In the chat, he brought to my attention OCEA. You guys know how I've been feeling about small caps today. I've been loving them, and this one is another small cap gapper. It's a $78.5 million name with a 9 million share float. This one really got going there to about 250, and then the big boy Huadun came in, because look at that, from 254 all the way down to $2.08. So the algos were hot on this name. Oh, we're just gonna bring him in like that? Okay, all right.
oh,
All right. As you guys just saw there, we are getting ready to talk to our social media team, as we do every Tuesday and Friday. Ram just on the ones and twos there, getting that ready on the Zoom call. Speaking of Zoom, have you looked at Zoom today?
no, let's look at Zoom because, I looked at it in the pre-market because I was, writing the earnings for the watch list. And yeah, Zoom, really interesting look. One thing I will say too, though, is I'm going to be curious to kind of, I guess we kind of recovered over it, but I do like this 67.70 area because look, we had a little bit of a bottom there in the pre around 830. Then we kind of come back into this and see a little bit of a bounce. So I think that 67.70 area, as highly specific as it is, I think could be an interesting area potentially of support. Not really anything that I have a trade on though, just because it kind of continues to move up. And we know I like things to be rangy. Speaking of ranges, Amazon though, popping back in, delivering another bounce off that 173.95, kind of coming into an interesting area here. Still vaguely lower highs, and more or less a flat bottom here on the 3-minute. But 5-minute, we did
Guys,
actually
her
make
chart?
a bit of a flat top here. That 174.30. So I think, Neil mentioned the potential flat bottom break on this. I concur potentially, because I was kind of wondering when we looked like we were going to eclipse that earlier high we made of 174.30, but even on the 5-minute, we just kind of ended up double topping it. So I'm going to have to wait and see. I need a little bit more confirmation until I'm confident about this look. But I think this Amazon look is not. It's not a bad time. I just need a little bit more proof here. Also, I believe it was Jordan Smith, I want to say in the chat, mentioning Meta. So shout out to you, saying that Meta at 484 has had a hard time. And as someone who had to get out the long at 484, I concur. Really lower highs, higher lows. Honestly, I'm going to be watching, you know what, I might actually just put a bid at this 483.20 area. And I say that because, look, we had some chop and churn. Now we're coming back into this. Looks like we're going to get shot right back down. And then I would get out of this if we get above that 483.50. So very small range there, but I think it could be interesting to play a rejection off that area. So I am going to get this order set up, and we're going to have to see how that goes. Because, yeah, also, Tesla decided to go lower after I'd left the short, so it's a little unfortunate. I have to ask, Model Y Tesla, but nice look there to the downside
Model Y
for TSLY or TSLA, recovering a little bit though at that 201. Also, VKTX, as much as I do not want to mess with a small cap, because I am not Sharif, who can whisper to these small caps in a way that I cannot, I love this VKTX range. Look at this.
I do agree.
That 72, I might actually have to get involved in this. Plus, it's a GLP-1, and we know I like those.
Yes.
But you know what else is ready to go other than this VKTX range play is our social media team.
Oh, baby.
So we're going to be talking to Jed and Pedro in just a moment here. Give them a nice warm welcome, guys.
Hello, hello, hello. How are you
guys?
Hi, everyone.
You guys are separate today. Okay, I like that. How are you guys doing? How's everything?
Sorry.
How are you guys? How is everything?
Oh, great. Everything is great here.
How's the weather over there? How's the weather over
cloudy,
there?
But for like the first day in weeks, it's not rainy.
Oh, nice.
So it's a win. It's lovely today, honestly.
So it's kind of the opposite for us. We have 14 degrees here, which is very unusual for February, but it is raining. It's kind of a bit of a trade-off. So instead of freezing to death, we're just going to get rained on today. So we'll take that. So what's up, guys? What's live and what's hot in social media world today in finance talk?
So today I really wanted to talk about the trend of women in finance. So kind of this aesthetic of being a boss, as a female in a male-dominated industry. Maybe Adara can relate to this. You guys were talking about, the makeup today and doing the hair. And I'm just noticing that, Adara is dressed with a blazer today when men can be maybe dressed in the office a little more casually. So I think that comes definitely with the territory. And, I have many friends that work in finance. And these recent years, they've been looking up to women like Jane Fraser, the CEO of Citigroup, and Abigail Johnson, CEO of Fidelity Investment. And it's really, really great to have these powerful women in the industry, for us, younger women to look up to. So that's definitely a trend I've been seeing going around. And also the idea of achieving financial freedom and, getting your dream life and buying your Hermes Birkin and Van Cleef, and that we talked about that in the first session. So that's those two trends I've been seeing going around a lot.
That's amazing because you don't. Why personally, I don't see too much finance dress that's making trends right now for women, because we see the finance bro vests for the men, right? And that's like a whole thing. I don't know if you know Eli Manning. He's a quarterback. He was a quarterback in the NFL, and he was on a podcast that I watch, and he was even dressing the part. He had his little finance bro vest on, even though he's a football player. Has nothing to do with finance, but he had to dress the part. What's going on in your world, Pedro?
I have been really, which is a little bit this lady, she's a lovely lady on TikTok, and she's been pretty much sharing about her divorce. Her name is Risa Tisa, and it's been weeks and parts, 50 something of her sharing her story basically. And there has been every single company in every single like niche and sphere of TikTok is just focused on listening to this lady's story, and it's been so entertaining. So I feel like TikTok in a way, and even like finance talk and everywhere else has just like stopped to listen to this lady's story, and it's so funny and it's so entertaining, and it's like she just pulls you in. So I feel like that's basically like what's going on right now. I even posted about it today. I'm like, this is what work has looked like, in the last like week, because we've had to just focus on that and hear this out. So it's been really, really interesting. But yeah, that's kind of what's going on right now. So
That's awesome, guys. All right, I want to show Jad a picture of one of my favorite women dressed right now. This is Lisa Su, Jad, and she is the CEO of AMD, one of the biggest chip companies right now, and she always has the best jackets for her earnings reports, whether they're violet or electric blue, and this is right here. I don't know, how do you feel about blue, by the way? That's my favorite color, especially Pepsi blue, like electric blue. How do you feel about that?
Favorite color, we call it royal blue, I guess, over here. It's beautiful. I mean, it's on the flag here in France. Like, I love it, right?
I love it too. All right, guys, it's been awesome talking to you. Hopefully we'll have some more trends to chat about this Friday. Can't wait. And you guys are killing it, by the way. Hilarious videos that you're posting, and keep them coming. Anything, by the way, before I let you guys go, anything coming on our social media account this week or today or anything like that?
Yeah, there's just been a video posted today on TikTok. There's more stuff coming on Instagram, especially tomorrow as well. The one that you and Brandon filmed, like our little series and stuff, that's coming out tomorrow. So there's stuff for the whole week to look forward to. So
amazing.
We're posting every day, TikTok twice a day. So there's always something, something up.
You guys are killing it. All right, we'll see you guys Friday. Loved having you on. Thank you.
All right, bye. Thank you, Shara.
See you guys.
Yeah, thank you so much to our social media team for that. As I put in the chat as well, we love the blazer game.
Oh, yeah.
I love Lisa Su's blazer game, and the excited face that Sharif gave me when he realized he could pull up Lisa Su's blazer. You had to be there to see it, but I'm sure you can believe it. Yeah, he was like, and the second I saw him type the L and the I, I was like, I know where this is going.
She knew.
But yeah, no, I think Lisa Su's blazer game, always killing it. And so I think...
Why are they laughing? Why are you guys laughing? What's
I missed
happening over
something.
there? And I don't know why they're laughing. Neil and... Say it again, Ram. Oh, wow. Okay. Ram's like, because Adara said as soon as he typed the L and the I, like Lisa Su, she's like, Ram's like, yeah, he's going to Liato. He's not going to Lisa Su. So that's how obsessive compulsive I am with Liato. No, just a joke there. What are you looking at there, Adara?
Yeah, I'm looking at Meta, which is another very notable CEO there, and his name is Zuckerberg.
Yes.
But yeah, Meta, I liked this kind of short, but now I'm right away, I'm like, I think I called this wrong. And the reason I say that was, the reason I like the short is now the same reason I'm questioning the short. And let me explain this. I got involved here because we had that move down. It looked like we were having lower highs, lower lows, and I like these failed wicks into 483.60. But now it seems like we're actually trying to break above that decisively. I think I might have to get out here at this 483.20. Basically, if we have the decisive 483.60 break, I'm gonna have to go, but it looks like honestly I might have to leave the party without saying anything here. Also, I had a resting bid at VKTX that got filled, so I am pleased as punch, but I'm gonna get out of this right now because this is a small cap, and I just do not want to overstay my welcome here. Yeah, as you can tell, I'm pleased as punch. We got out. I'm really happy here. I like this because it was rangy. I did get out partway through, and honestly, I should have planned this better, but I really wasn't planning on the order getting filled that quickly. Just got in the bottom of the range. Got out midway through the range, but if this range comes back in again, and I'm not intending on shorting this, let me make that very clear, because it is a small cap, or a smaller cap, mind you, because it is about 3.7 billion. So I got very...
Yeah, you're a pretty cool customer, I gotta tell you. When you're trading, I don't really see you get rattled all that much, but the second you got into this small capper, I felt like a different disposition, aura coming from your way.
forget about these. They're nobody, right?
Yeah,
like
that's true.
Yeah, don't worry
I think
about them.
I think like I was possessed the second I got into that small cap.
Remember Axla, the whole Axla thing? I think that's why.
I get nervous. Yeah, the Axla situation, I talk about it a lot, so people probably have an idea, but it was a small cap that got halted to the downside while I was in it, and it was one of my first trades ever. But yeah, VKTX trying to be a Viking in the market here. Meta going down now too, so I'm pleased as punch as we get into Elliott wave theory.
Great trade though, Adair.
Thank you so much.
Because I like it, not because you executed it, but you actually found your setup, which is a range, and you played it. It didn't matter if it was a small cap, didn't matter if it was a mid cap or a large cap. You followed on the plan, you stuck to the plan. Good for you.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that.
No problem. All right, let's get right back into work, baby. Elliott wave theory today. Perfect segue after the Dow theory because Elliott wave builds on Dow. So in case you're wondering what Elliott wave theory is, it is a method of analyzing financial markets by identifying repetitive wave patterns. That's what we're looking for here, repetitive wave patterns. It was developed by Ralph Nelson Elliott in the 1930s. And it proposes that the market movements follow a specific structure based on investor psychology. So we're going to talk, well, we're not really going to talk about psychology, but his premise is, if you dig into it a little deeper, he posits that all these waves, all these buy and sell areas and the patterns that evolve as a result are because of investor psychology. All right, so some of the key concepts in Elliott wave theory. The first one we need to know about is waves. Believe it or not, there's waves in Elliott wave theory. The theory identifies 8 different types of waves. All right, so the first 3 are 1, 3, and 5, and these waves move with the trend. So if the trend is up, you're going to see wave 1, 3, and 5 up and to the right, okay? There are other 2 waves that are corrective waves are 2 and 4, but those are within the overall up move. There's another set of waves called A, B, and C, and I'm going to show this in a second, which are the down waves. And it's not just a correction in the overall trend. It'll look like a trend in and of itself, but it really isn't. It's part of a bigger trend. And those ones are labeled with letters, A, B, and C, rather than numbers. But there are different types of waves as well, not just to ID the waves. There are 2 different categories of waves. One is called an impulsive wave. One is called a corrective wave. Waves 1, 3, and 5, these are impulsive waves, and they represent the main trend, while waves 2 and 4 and A, B, and C are corrective waves, and they move against the dominant trend. And like people were asking earlier, I think it was Nick W in the chat saying maybe he saw Elliott waves, I believe on, I forget which stock.
Trade Desk?
Trade Desk, thank you, TDD. We like to look at these in the wild because they are fractal in nature. So basically what we're talking about here is smaller wave patterns nest within larger ones. So you can see the same 5-3 structure applied across all time frames, whether you're looking at the daily, the weekly, or the 15 or 20 minute. They may look a little differently, and like I say, with all technical analysis that is fractal, the lower the time frame you go, the higher the failure rate, okay? All right, and here is an example of what we're looking at. So you can see waves 1, 3, and 5 are all up and to the right. One thing that you should be looking for is wave 3 to be the biggest of waves 1 and 5. So it's the middle wave that typically is the biggest. And then after wave 1, you get a minor correction. Well, we get a pullback, right? When we're trading, you always see me wanting to go long on a pullback. You'll get 2 of those. Waves 2 and 4, these are short-term corrective waves. But then after wave 5, we start moving down, the corrective move. So A, B, and C, these are part of the down move. B, though, the actual move itself is a little bit up because it's correcting a down move. But we categorize usually A, B, and C as the corrective waves as they are part of a bigger move down. And I want to show, this is the chart on Liotto over here. So what I was looking at, I mean, forget about all this stuff over here. Just start from the where the trend line starts. If this is the larger move, we have a correction, and then once we make a newer high above this, look for a bigger move up above that $50 area. Same thing here on the SPX. Look at the COVID bottom over here. You have a big, huge wave from basically March 2020 all the way until January 2022, and then from January 2022 till October 2022, we have a series of lower highs, and then we all know what happened in January of 2023. We made that higher high and higher low, and we haven't looked back since, breaking through that COVID high. So look for wave 3 here, which is starting from January of 23 to current, to be bigger than the one that we put in from COVID. From the COVID bottom till January of 2022, if we're to follow Elliott wave theory, this wave over here should be bigger than this one over here eventually. I mean, obviously it's not right now, but eventually it should be. All right, so here's a breakdown of the waves. Like we said, wave 1 is the initial move up, so that initiates the trend. Wave 2 is a minor correction to the big move by wave 1. It's a retracement of about 61.5% if you're using fib, 61.8% of wave 1. And then we have waves 3 and 4. Wave 3 is supposed to be the strongest in the trend, and it often exceeds wave 1 in price and length. And wave 4 is another short correction around 38.2% of wave 3. So if you're looking to be able to measure waves 4 correction, it's a little shallower than wave 2, which was the correction for wave 1, in that it only retraces about 38.2%. And then you have wave 5, which is, this one completes the trend to the high side or low side, doesn't matter, often reaching a new high or low before a larger correction. And that's what we were looking at over here with the top. So this is wave 5, and then we start correcting at that point. And so, oops, let me just get to that, right? And then so we obviously have the corrective waves A, B, and C after we finished our move with wave 5, which ends the main trend. These oppose the main trend and can have various shapes. However, wave A usually doesn't retrace below the start of wave 1. So you always have that higher low, in that this over here, wave A, doesn't usually break below wave 1. So if it does, we're not looking at the same thing over here. You definitely want the corrective waves of A, B, and C to be above the starting point of wave 1, so you don't make a newer low there. And then here are the stages of the waves, right? So you can see bottom left there, we got the initiation of the trend with wave 1. We get a minor correction, wave 2. Then wave 3 is the big boy. That overshadows wave 1 and 5. And then you'll see here wave 4 is also a bit of a correction of wave 3, but it's supposed to be only about half the size of waves 2 correction. And then we finish the trend by completing wave 5, and then we have that ABC correction before we start again the new trend from wave 1. And so, and look at this. Look at the reversal. What do you see up here? A bit of a head and shoulders pattern, eh?
Yeah.
Which is what?
Which is a reversal pattern.
Bang. Fantastic. I think they did that on purpose, but
Yeah, it's interesting.
we'll go with it. And so that's what we're looking at here. So you have the what's it called? The impulse waves and the corrective waves. Impulse waves go with the trend. The corrective waves retrace the trend. Here are some other facts that you should know about Elliott waves. They have similarities to the Dow, like we mentioned at the top of the show, in that both theories recognize that stock prices move in patterns, like phases in the Dow or waves in Elliott wave theory. And Elliott waves provide greater market detail because they recognize the fractal nature of the markets. Whether you're looking at the 4-hour or the daily or the weekly, they are both sound. Elliott actually discovered and identified fractal structures in financial markets in the 1930s, decades before it was noted by scientists and mathematicians. And there are 9 degrees of waves, as we just finished talking about there. But also remember, Elliott wave theory is not an exact science, and correctly identifying wave patterns requires experience and judgment. And we're just giving you like the bare bones of the theory here. We're not going to belabor the point, but if you want to learn more, obviously, there's an umpteen amount of sources on the internet. We're giving you just basics to kind of get you interested. And the theory is also subjective and open to interpretation because you're making judgments as to, no, this is wave 1, no, this is wave 1. So it becomes a little bit of a subjective observation and analysis, and it's also subject to confirmation bias. You may see what you think you see. And even though it can be a valuable tool for potentially identifying turning points because we structure the waves. It shouldn't be the sole basis for making your entries into trades or investments, and you should be looking for confirmation elsewhere, as we always say.
Yeah, and I think what's interesting too is you can kind of, the way I just was kind of thinking of it now as we went through that lesson again, which thank you so much to Sharif, getting lots of love in the chat for that lesson there, which is, yeah, very much appreciated. But yeah, no, I think in a way it's like kind of a mathematical breakdown of these like stutter step patterns that we'll see, right? So it's higher highs, higher lows, lower highs, lower highs, lower lows. If you're in a downtrend, it's really like Meta as an example. I'm not saying this is Elliott Wave, mind you. I'm saying this is a downtrend. But what I think is interesting is you can look at this and you can kind of see like, you know, how you could superimpose these mathematical patterns, should they apply, mind you, onto stuff like this, right? So it's just really kind of a way of looking at
100%.
downtrends or uptrends. And again, not saying that Meta is Elliott waving. I'm just pulled this as an example of something that's in a trend right now, which is to the downside. Also, Rich Law, really like that name too. Can you connect Elliott wave to Fibonacci retracements? And actually in the notes I found, you can.
Yes.
So Elliott actually found that corrective waves retrace impulse waves in Fibonacci proportions of 38%, 50%, and 69%.
Bang.
And also, apparently, impulse waves, if they're within a larger impulse sequence, they also will relate to each other in Fibonacci proportion. So yeah, very cool. And I thank you for asking that, because that was something I had in my notes that I forgot about. So I'm happy we could bring that one out.
Bang. And I just want to add, with respect to the corrective wave, so just keep in mind that wave 2 is correcting for wave 1. So the retracement of that big initial wave 1 move is wave 2. Wave 2 is supposed to retrace up to 68 or some odd percent of wave 1, whereas wave 4, which is the correction to wave 3, is actually half that size. So we are absolutely using fibs when we're using Elliott wave theory. And that's a perfect segue, Adira, because tomorrow, what are we talking about?
Fibonacci sequences.
Boom! We're talking about fibs tomorrow, so make sure you're checking that out with Adira and I, and we'll basically talk about how it fits into Elliott's as well.
Yeah, no word of a lie, no fibbing. We are discussing Fibonacci sequences coming into tomorrow, so very excited for that one.
Oh, I gotta get that one from you, Neil. Because I think I'd be hitting that a lot on mine, because she's always dropping hot puns during the midday, whereas there's not too many puns during the morning show, right? So
yeah, well, they draw, you know, they have, they got jokes. They
got jokes, but I don't think they really, they're not pun oriented like you are. You know what I mean? So. Neil's claiming that he hits that.
I can't, I'm not good enough at sarcasm to tell what's happening here, so I'm going to bow out.
I love that. You always look a little confused. All right, let's talk a little bit about what we're doing here trading-wise. This VKTX trade that you were in, Adira, on a range now is starting to put in higher lows, higher highs, even though it does look a little bit consolidated. He just broke through 75 there, got to about 75 3/4. Now it's below 75 again, and it is trying to put that higher high. So we already had a trade on this one. Took a couple of dollar banger, but I don't think this one is giving up the ghost. In fact, it's setting up for what we call a VWAP hold high of daybreak type trade on these small cap gappers. And here's what I mean by that. These ones usually, they have a nice run up earlier in the day, then they get a little consolidative during that less liquid time of day, but they hug VWAP. Either, you know, a little bit below or a little bit above, but they're in and around that VWAP area. And then what ends up happening is that around the more liquid time of day, once we get to that 2-3 o'clock time slot, they start building up and, you know, getting away from VWAP to the north side and looking to challenge high a day. And so that's what I'm looking for here. This one's holding above VWAP quite well. VWAP's at that $41 area. We're trading around 44 right now, even though we're putting in sequentially lower lows and lower highs. We did come into that general VWAP area and then bounce right back off. So we're going to keep an eye on JANX for that type of trade. We're going to keep an eye on CXAI for that type of trade, as well as VKTX, and BEAM is also giving us that potential trade. It barely broke below VWAP there at around, I believe, what time was that? 11:45, 12, dipped right below, shot right back up again. So this one is, all these ones are holding up above VWAP. Not typical for all these small cap gappers to be above VWAP like that. It's usually, usually some of them are below a little bit. So we'll continue to watch here, see what we get on the day.
Yeah, no, I'm just seeing a lot of really interesting stuff here in the chat that I want to look at before I talk about this maybe questionable trade. Curtis the Conqueror is saying Wave 1 and Wave A are the hardest to trade. The best trades are in Wave 3 and C and 5, waiting for confirmation. Yeah, thank you very much for putting that in there. We really appreciate that. People who have, more experience with Elliott waves, because they're not really something that I use. So thank you so much, Curtis the Conqueror, for that. Context there. Also, B-Bot 5000 saying Adara with the puns, Sharif with the guns, which I got a kick out of. So, yeah, thank you for that there as well. Also, I have to talk about Tesla. Lots of people want to talk about Tesla. And as I pull up Tesla, because, oh my gosh, Tesla, what happened to you? I do want to talk about some things I saw, again, more in the chat as well. I really enjoyed Neil's very apt comment, we are Elliott waving to the downside, and yes, we are. Tesla's certainly a sign of this. We fell viciously from that 202.40 area. I was very clearly too early on this short here. Oh my gosh, we fell with the viciousness. Shout out to a lot of people in the chat here. I know Roger mentioning Tesla puts. I believe Joanna Brewster saying $2 in the money on Tesla, so congrats to joining the $2 club for you. That is a fantastic look. Moving to the downside, not to the downside. We're in the downside. We're just negative on the day. What a move down here for Tesla. Trying to recover, oddly enough, at this 199.40 area, but still continuing to move down. Also, this NVIDIA short. So my logic for this was, I kind of like this as this move, lower highs coming from that 793, then we had 792, then we had 791. If we have a decisive break back above into that 792, I'm out. I do think I entered this too early. I should have waited for that 791.50 area because we got that, and then I saw the failure of that and got into the short. So not my proudest moment entry-wise. Basically, I have a profit taker set around 790 and then another run around 789. I think I might have to change the 789 one. That looks a little bit too ambitious. So I'm going to change that. But we're just going to have them both around the 790. We'll try to get $1 out of this. But yeah, basically my logic for this as well was, again, lower highs and this flattish bottom. So we want to capture the action as we get near the bottom of this range here. That was the look for NVDA. And we'll have to see if we end up getting the out that we want here on this NVDA move, because we're having a really hard time breaking below that 790.50. Tony Price saying it's Elliott waving goodbye. Someone else was making a joke too about ET saying Elliott waving to ET, which is really because the main kid in that, I believe his name is Elliot. So
was
great.
it? I
We
remember.
love puns here in this chat. Someone else was saying it's the pun and gun show. I have the puns and you have the guns.
All right.
So that was
like
pretty
that.
funny there as well. Also, there was one other, I saw something in the chat here, Coin. A lot of people asking about Coinbase. So I want to look at Coinbase here.
Katina Man was printing on that earlier.
Oh, he was indeed. And oh my gosh. Not a lot of coins left in Coinbase. We got to that 210 area, pseudo double top, continuing to move to the downside. Lower highs other than this pop back into 210 right off the open. And whew.
Where is
Held
it now?
out here.
Katina Man's asking where Coinbase is now. It's at 192.51.
But it's getting lower.
He got out at 201. Well, it's at LOD at the moment, yeah. And
Yeah.
You're still shorting that, Katina Man? Short NVIDIA 490.
You mean
sorry,
793?
793. Excuse me. Yeah. Yeah.
No, yeah, that NVIDIA 7, I took the NVIDIA 791, so.
What is NVIDIA doing anyway? I haven't really been looking at large caps.
I had a
today.
baby, a scalp short in NVIDIA. I just took $1 out of it, 791 to 790, because I like this flat bottom here and these lower highs.
That's a great
But
look.
yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, congrats. Sean clearly getting the best print here, though, on that
Oh, yeah.
793 short. Congrats to you. Neil tagging me, and yeah, you called that Amazon flat bottom break. I should have gotten involved in this. Thank you very much, Neil.
Did it?
He was talking about that flat bottom break
He
in the
did.
chat. And then I should have gotten involved in this. I'm kicking myself now, but thank you very much, Neil, for pointing that one out. Trying to learn every day here from the market. So thank you so much. Also, Kyle Burdett pointing out the bond auction is incoming.
Yes,
And
I
it
saw
looks
that.
like he is
7
short
year.
the market coming into that. So very exciting time. Huang family saying the big short story continues on. Yeah, cannot disagree. So many shorts, continuing to look for more opportunities in the market. But yeah, that VKTX, I might have to take off my side chart as wild as that trade was. The ranges, as Sharif said, we're making higher highs and higher lows, so it's no longer something I'm interested in. What a move here. Thank you very much, Zenod 1066, much appreciated. Nothing wrong with $1. Yeah, I scalp more anyway, so I'm just trying to get more used to scalping these smaller movements there For sure, yeah.
JANX Adara getting a nice bounce off VWAP, and there we go again to the high side. This thing just won't let up. It's up 203%. We're well off that $50 top that we got to, but look at this consolidation move over here on our way down. So I want to be really attentive to what happens at 46.5 to 47, because that was a whole lot of chop and churn here before that big move down into 42, and then we bounced right back up off that. It's a better look here on the 5-minute chart if I can show you JANX. It just shows a continued strength. This bad boy started yesterday in the aftermarket. I'm assuming this was some sort of earnings play. I forget again what this was for, JANX.
Oh, they had prostate cancer stuff.
That's right. That's right. And why would they release that at 4 o'clock though? That's interesting. Oh, well, whatever. It doesn't really make a difference. And here it is. What's going on, Katina Man? The Katina Man is still short the Qs. He's printing on that. So keep your eye on the second channel and on the chat. He's often putting his trades and his outs and stuff like that in the chat. So if you're following the Katina Man's trades, be on the lookout. So JANUX announces safety and efficacy data going on the dose of escalate. Yeah, we read this earlier. I forgot about that. So anyway, it comes down into that general VWAP area. Doesn't even really make it down to VWAP. VWAP on my chart at the time was around 41. This dipped into about 42.15, but here we go again, breaking above 46. I really want to see something above that 47, 47.50 area. It's this area of consolidation that I'm concerned about here, that we block the move up because of the sellers at this area. So we'll have to wait and see what we get. But this has been a hell of a name today. It's been awfully strong, and it's presented you with multiple opportunities. We had a banger on this one earlier from 44 into around 46.5. And then this one really started going to 50. So it's going again here, guys. Here we go again. The volume's starting to come in, and the price action is moving into that 47 area. So we could get that test of 47, 47.5 coming in quite soon here. 210%. You're still printing on those shorts, eh? Everybody's short. The Katina Man's short, Big Kyle Burdett is short. Everybody's taking everything short right now. Looks like the Mag 7 names, they're all down and to the right. So we're missing out here on some nice short trades on the Mag 7. So even though we were really fixated, I think, on these small cap gappers because we were quite consolidative on these large caps, I think we're going to have to change that too now, because there are definitely potentials to be had here, Dara. Maybe even for some bounces. Who knows?
Oh yeah, no, and speaking of bounces, you know, I still think the short is better longer term than NVIDIA, and shout out to Sean casually dropping the $4 club NVIDIA into the chat, so congrats to you. But I think at least for a short-term play, at least for myself, I do kind of like this NVIDIA 788 little, I don't want to call it a bounce, I'll call it a little hop. And why do I say this? So probably as I draw this, it'll prove me wrong, but that's okay. Why I like this is because look at where we had this other bounce in NVIDIA that we had initially ended up becoming a flat bottom here at that 790 area. Although, as I said, it is kind of not proving its point. But basically, I like the idea. We had this previous resistance area, this previous pop into 789, and some change that ended up being a bottom here for this flat bottom break. Now we're kind of having a little bit of a bounce off of that earlier area of the top of that range, that 788, right? So I think, you know, it might not come to fruition, but just these are the type of things that I noticed that I like for my scalping and my range plays. And I think this move off of that 788 in NVIDIA could prove interesting, at least short term, but I would be very cognizant of that 790, because I do think Sean and the Sticky Note Nation are totally right about the NVIDIA short. I really should have saved a piece for the dream into that move to the downside. But, you know, as Obi says, where's the next trade? I don't know, but I think, you know, if that NVIDIA bounce happens again, that could be it. How is Apple going?
Well, there's nothing really happening with me and Apple right now, but there could be in a second, because we are on our way down into 180 on Apple, if I can show that. Here we go. It's a 180.21 low. We're right now in the mid-20s. Do we get exactly to 180? We didn't last time, and I had a banger on Apple earlier. Look at that. We got in at 180.35 to initiate, and then again 180.33, and then we took all that through 181. I was pleased as punch with this trade, but we could get another shot on Apple here as we're getting that 180 level again. If you're wondering why I'm making such a big deal about the 180 level, go and have a look at the daily chart on Apple. 180 level has been defended by whatever buying program is on at that level, but it's been a good level off which to get longs for a while. And I got to tell you, I added to my Apple position today in the pre-market, getting some nice 180s there. So the next beak wetter for me, or next entry on Apple for me on the long term, will be at that 175. But with respect to the day trade, I am watching intently here to see if we start curling back at whatever level. I'm not going to try to guess the level, right? If it doesn't hold up at 180, then the trade is not valid. But until it comes into 180, or until it starts putting newer 1 minute candles to make a new high, I'm not going to try and guess where the bottom is. I'd rather just wait for the market to show me what we're looking at here. But yeah, 180 definitely coming on Apple. And the beautiful thing about that is it's actually jiving with support level 1 here on pivots. So it's coming into that 180.20, which is where support level on my support level 1 on pivots is, which is the red dotted line on my chart. 180.09 now, the low of day on Apple. Here we go. We could be getting to that 180 level awfully soon, Adara. Possible trade here. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, I know you've been talking about taking a bite out of Apple, or a bite of that 180 level for quite some time. So hopefully you're able to take those trades there. I know you also have been waiting for an Apple pullback in your long term as well, because you've been swinging that, much like your friend Alfred calling from the Batcave. I know you said he's the only person you've ever seen who's excited when the stock season go down. So I think it's cool that you're kind of, because I know you see yourself as more of a technical analyst, right?
Yes.
So I think it's cool that
he's more of a fundamental.
Yeah, exactly. Adopting the fundamental analysis. That's a good trading friendship when you can kind of, share aspects of each other's trading personalities. I think that's really cool.
And we like rarely agree on anything too, which is awesome.
That's
because there's no point like sitting there, oh here, we agree on everything. We're not going to get anywhere. But when you challenge my ideas, it forces me to think. And I always challenge his ideas, he challenges mine. That's why we jive, even though we don't see eye to eye on almost anything.
I think that's important.
Yeah.
And I think I appreciate you for pointing that out as well, because I think I feel like a lot of the friends I get along with the best are people that I don't necessarily have as much in common on like a deeper level to some extent sometimes, right? And it's like you can kind of grow and learn from each other, and I think that can breed really valuable friendships. So I don't like to use the word breed there, but I said it, so there we go. But yeah, I think it can be really
it's all right.
Yeah, I think it can be really important, and I appreciate you mentioning that. Also, I guess the auction came out. Did we get?
Oh yes, it typically takes a few minutes, right?
Yeah.
So guys, as per usual, it takes us a bit here to find out what the result of the 7-year note auction is. If you get that, throw that in the chat for us to report. I would definitely really appreciate that. 7-year note auction, 1 o'clock. The last few auctions have been a little bit underwhelming if you're a bond trader or if you're a money market guy, but we'll have to wait and see what we get here. I'm long Apple, by the way, at 18s. We're already pumping in to mid 30s. So let's see. I have no problem DCAing into this trade into 180, but my line in the sand is going to be like, let's just say 179.89. We're going to give this one 11 pennies through the break of 180, but it may not be coming down to that, because we're moving right back up into that 180 and a third. All right, Magic 8 Ball says the yield came in at 4.327. Can you tell me what that is relative to what the 7-year was trading at prior to the release of the yield? Because that's the comparator there. We have to look at what it was trading at versus what the auction, I want to say yielded, but that's a little on the nose. Yielded on the yield, right? I don't know, is it? Yeah. 4.109. Okay, so it was 4.327, and then it was apparently trading at 4.109. Am I getting that right, guys? Prior was 4.1. Thank you for that. Well, no, the prior, we're not looking for the prior, though. We're looking at what the 7-year was trading at prior to the auction, not what the previous print was. I have the previous print here at 4.109. I know that's what you guys mean, but that's not what I'm asking for there. I really need to figure out how to get the 7-year on, or all the different yields on my platform. For whatever reason, I can only pull up a few of them, the 10, the 2, the 30, and the 5. Some of the other ones, I can't really pull up. The 20-year, I can't seem to pull up for some reason. Anyway, what's your look over there?
Yeah, my look is a real nail biter here. I like this NVIDIA look. There's someone saying here, Patrick Langlois, what does the bond do to NVIDIA? Bong. Yeah, I agree to some extent that might have been that bounce off here, that 788. But I also think that 788 push could have had maybe more to do, or at least equally enough to do with that. Yeah, I'll explain this short in a minute, but this is kind of my preamble here. I like this 788 area, but then I noticed even when we had that push up, we failed 790. I watched for a couple 790 failures. I'm getting the grandpa finger going again. I apologize. I watched for a couple failures of 790 before I kind of made this thesis. But once we failed like the second or third time, I said, you know what, Adara? As Sean says, a scared trader is a deficient trader. And we do not want to be a deficient trader here. No sir, no ma'am, no person. So I wanted to get involved in this short at just shy of 790. I'm going to be taking part of this out around that 789 area. And then I'm going to save a piece for the dream for that 780 bounce. Because basically I like ranges. This is the type of trading I like doing. And you know, Sharif was saying earlier as well with the VKTX, as much as my execution getting out of the trade was a bit frantic, the plan getting into it was inspired by ranges I was seeing, right? This NVIDIA bounced off that 788 previous area of resistance, looked really interesting to me, and so I wanted to play that move back to the downside, kind of playing it like a ping pong ball in and out of the range. So I think that's an interesting move. Although, as I say that, now NVIDIA is trying to come back into that 791. If we break above that 791 decisively, I'm out. I don't have a huge position here. Again, I'm trying to take advantage of opportunities I'm seeing. So we'll see if this one comes to fruition. But overall, yeah, not a bad trading day for me thus far, other than some questionable trades in the Cybertruck, but we call it stressful for a reason. That's my main look here, is this NVIDIA move. Everything getting a bit of a pop though here. SPY got a little bit of a pop on that option as well. So nice, little small move up here yielded for the SPY on that. But this generally though, you started this. You started this by saying the yield thing.
Oh, I wouldn't even notice how
so I got
shaking my head
out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did not mean to get so intense. But yeah, lower highs, lower lows. Honestly, if the SPY continues moving down this way, I might take this for a short, but I cannot focus on anything else while I'm in an NVIDIA trade. So we're gonna have to deal with that for the time being.
No worries.
How are you doing over here?
We're good. We're long Apple. I mean, it's not really doing much at the moment. The whole point here is to defend 180 on the day, not like, in case you guys are wondering, we have to be flat at the end of the day, right? So I'm not buying Apple here at 180 to hold forever and ever. This is it going to defend 180 or not? That's really the trade here. So we're going to have to wait and see, packing my patience there. But the one I feel a little bit silly about, VKTX, remember Adara took the range trade on this, and then we pointed out that it was putting in higher lows and higher highs, and it was above VWAP, this, that, and the other. Well, there you go. It just broke again from 74, jumping to 78. This one looks like it wants to take the high a day, which is at 78 2/3. It's doing the dance right now with 77.5. Just touched 78 and then came back down a little bit. So this one continuing to give you opportunities. And look at this, Carvana coming into 80 and bouncing aggressively off 80, putting a bit of a hammer candle right there on the 5-minute look on Carvana. But once Carvana starts coming back down, I don't know if I want to be in front of this one. We're going to continue to watch, see if we can get any higher highs or higher lows to show us while we're defending that 80 level and getting it on the back end, as my friend Neil likes to say. At the moment, though, it's still putting in lower highs, so I'm not going to be quick to jump on this. Maybe something above that 81.5 we'll get involved in. But yeah, Carvana presenting you with opportunities. But so is this other one over here, JANX. This bounces fantastic off VWAP, that 42 area we talked about. Look where it is again, 47. So this one giving you a lot of possibilities here. We've had trades on all these, but sadly we're able to reload on them. Once you get these stocks on the rope, it's kind of like a boxing metaphor. Don't let them out of the corner. Keep them there, pin them, and that's what I really need to get better at with these small cap gappers. Once you have them cornered, don't let them out. Nothing else for me here other than to watch this Apple trade and see what it manifests into. I've got my small cap gappers on the side. 3 of them are doing real well here, JNX, CVNA, and VKTX. The other one's kind of in a pullback at the moment, Adara.
Yeah, it's been a small cap and Apple type of day here for you, I know, because I think Apple was the one mega cap you've been trading today, right? So,
it is, yeah,
yeah,
literally
nice
the only
look.
one,
It's,
yeah.
Small capple, I guess. But yeah, no, this NVIDIA, I will say, we got into 791, and one of the biggest things I do while I trade, and I've talked about this basically ad nauseum at this point, but I really like to watch the book when we get to levels that I'm interested in for, my outs or my stops, right? We got into that 791 and we could not hold it. It's a lower high, so I'm comfortable staying in this trade. That's kind of my thesis for staying in this. I could have reloaded, and I think that would have been maybe more of the, the less scared trader thing to do. But I was like, you know what, Adara, this is already kind of a dicey trade. Stay with the piece you have. You get what you get, and you don't get upset, which is probably a weird metaphor to use here. But yeah, I'm going to be, like I said, still trying to get out of this by that 788 area entirely. I'm just setting my points of exit here. I would like NVIDIA to kind of break decisively below that 790 area again. That would make me pleased as punch, but I'm not displeased right now with what we're doing here. I do like the lower highs. I do like the lower lows, and I do like this kind of 790 failure into that 788 area, by which I will absolutely no longer be in this trade if NVIDIA doesn't stop me out first, you know what I mean? So that is my look. I see some people talking about Tesla here. I feel like usually there's always some chat about Tesla.
Right.
But yeah, we're seeing a little bit of chop and churn here around this 198 to 199, or sorry, yeah, 198.80 to 199. So that's a tight range. As someone who likes ranges, this gives you no wiggle room though. My one thing is too, this could be a bit of a bear flag, right? I don't want to diagnose a move before it happens, but look at this. We had this move down from 202.40 to this 198.80 area, 198.90. So that's like, that's multi-dollar move here. I think this could absolutely kind of give you some chop and churn and then maybe another move to the downside, but I do not want to diagnose a move before it happens. However, that being said, sometimes, we do have these setups and they do come to fruition. You need to keep an eye on them. Like, Neil, shout out to Neil for calling this Amazon flat bottom break, which I completely, I should have been paying a better attention to. So I think this is a really nice look. Mainly though, like I said, I have to, NVIDIA's like, when you have like a kind of a naughty kid you're babysitting that you really need to keep an eye on, that's NVIDIA right now, because I know that NVIDIA will misbehave and you just have to really be there and be like, no, NVIDIA, don't do that. Like, just because your mom's not home doesn't mean you can't listen to the babysitter, you know what I mean? So how to be careful with this stock. Again though, no reason for me to leave because you're still making lower lows and lower highs. Also, oh my gosh, VKTX popping off here. Oh my gosh.
I'm upset.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean
Yeah, I mean, it's such an obvious, it's putting in higher lows. Punch in, man. No, I'm yelling at myself. Neil just sent me a message. He just dropped a hotline right now on Twitter. Here's what Neil dropped. It just came to you? This one just literally came to him, so he went pen to paper or finger to keyboard, whatever. Here's what it was. Every trade can always be better. There are good trades, not perfect trades. You get what you get and you don't get upset. Bang. I like it. Look at him. Look at him. He's feeling himself right there. Yeah, he's got the glasses. He's sipping on the cup. Okay. Got you, Neil. Got you. Shout out to Neil. Wise words as always, my man. Thank you very much, by the way. And who was asking me in the chat there? Yeah. John SD, what indicators are they using? Great question, John. I'll tell you what I'm using, and then Adara will tell you what she's using. Ram, if I can show the chart for a second. So on my chart, you're going to see a number of things. Number of lines, each one different color, each one has a different meaning. The blue is the 200 exponential moving average, EMA. These are all exponential moving averages except the white one. The red is the 50-period moving average. The yellow is the 20 and the green is the 10. And then the white one is the volume weighted average price. Those are the indicators that I use, are moving averages for the exception of VWAP, obviously. I use different ones for different reasons. I'm not going to use the 10 and the 20 usually on large caps. That's usually reserved for the small caps. On my other screen, you're going to see these dotted lines. These are pivot points or derivations thereof. You can Google what a pivot point is, but what you need to know is that it's based on yesterday's or the previous day's price action. It takes the high, low, and the close. It averages them out and then gives you a number off which you base different levels. The different levels are resistance levels and support levels off the pivot. So you'll see the green line, the dotted green line on my chart, that is the actual pivot point itself. And then the red and the orange are the support levels, and the baby blue and the navy blue, those are resistance levels. That's basically all I use on my chart. And then on the bottom, you'll see volume as well, but that's just kind of basic stuff there. Adara has several on her charts she may want to apprise you of as well.
Yeah, sorry, NVIDIA, the spread was a little rough, so took us a little too long to get out there. Whew, that was a moment. I'm just trying to catch my breath on that trade. Get a real job, they say. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat. This is a small gapper donation, small cap gapper donation. LOL, I'm still holding my Tesla short. 203.80.
Woo!
Congrats to you. Yeah, no stress for you on that. Whew. Yeah, I mean, congrats.
Look.
Thank you very much for the super chat. And thank you, so much. And congrats to you for that trade. Also, I enjoyed Neil's little wise words there.
Yes.
So much appreciated. Thank you for reading those out for everyone. Yeah, I want to talk about this NVIDIA situation.
You
So,
okay?
Me?
You
No,
okay? Yeah.
Yeah, I swear I saw my trading life flash before my eyes. You know, and this is the thing too. It takes one trade to kind of, you know, send everything into a tailspin, right? Because we had good trades in NVIDIA up until this point. And I still stand by the setup. I just should have fixed the stop here. The issue was my stop got completely run because of the spread on this. We had like a 25-cent spread. I just could not get filled in the way out. It is what it is. It's okay. You know, as Neil and I were saying, you get what you get and you don't get upset, so I'm not going to. But I just wanted to explain this situation. Marginally positive on the day still, even after this debacle. But yeah, just trying to learn, work on setting stops better. And as someone said in the chat, you know, shorting NVIDIA is living dangerously. It wasn't earlier today, but it certainly was for that most recent trade. So something I'm going to try to learn from and maybe stay out video for the rest of the day. But yeah, congrats to anybody who got that pop. That was a massive move up here when we broke that 790 decisively. Whew, yeah, that's quite the look. Also, in terms of what I use in my chart, sorry, I use the VWAP and I use the 9 EMA. I really like, sometimes, especially for my scalp.
Can you identify the colors?
Off the 9 EMA. Sorry, my 9 EMA is purple, and my VWAP is teal. And then I have my volume bars at the bottom here as well. And I think I also have the MACD at the bottom. I don't really use the MACD. I'd like to use it more, but I do have it here so I can kind of see what the lines are doing, you know what I mean? Also, now it looks like where I got out, NVIDIA might be a short again, but I'm going to wait for some more confirmation because the bamboozlement is very much real, to quote something that you said a couple days ago, I believe in.
Oh, yeah. Ooh. Goodness gracious, is it real?
Yeah, that move up was crazy.
Yeah. I've got another dip trade. So I got in initially at 18s on Apple. I've got another order to go long even more at 18s. I'm going to basically defend this into 180. My thesis on this trade is that we hold 180 on the day. And if that ends up being wrong, then we'll take the loss. But I'm going to be looking to defend that 180 level on AAPL until it does break decisively on a closing basis. I'm talking about a closing basis on the 5-minute chart, not the one. Otherwise, you know, looking to re-up near that 180 area. So I've got another order there. It's moved up into the 40s, but really doesn't, I don't feel it has legs at the moment. Yeah, well, I'm not really seeing any aggressive move up on the Mag 7, save and except for Google and a little bit of Amazon, maybe even some Meta too. Meta bouncing off that 481 and a quarter through 483 now and a quarter. So a nice $3 move off that Meta bottom there. Saw Amazon also giving you a potential opportunity here, bouncing off support level 1 on pivots at 173, now bouncing about to 173.50. But the range on Amazon has been, it's been all right. It hasn't been great. I think really the long here on Meta is the strongest of the bunch, as well as Google. Google gave you that dollar, 137.09. It made low of day on that recent pullback, popped up into 138.09. So that's a quick buck there in about 5-6 minutes on Google. So good luck. Not much else. Let's flip back actually into small cap gappers, see what they're up to at the moment. So Gen X not quite making it back up into that $50 area. Initially, we got to 50, that we rejected, came back to 42.5, and then we just topped out again a little bit above 48. Now we're dipping below 47 in the mid 46s. So Gen X continue to give opportunities, no question about that. But it's really VKTX here that just put in the higher high, and this one is on the dang way up. What a move for VKTX today. There you go. This is the level off which I'm basing that higher high. We're not at the highest point of the day. That's fine. And we're still below the pre-market high. But we're definitely the highest point in the day that we've been after the bell. And the trend is quite clear up here. When you look at where the lows are, they're all higher than the previous low. And now we have a higher high. So this one continuing to print, man. This is the real deal if you're into the GLP-1s. They call them GLIPs now. Did you hear about that?
Glips?
Yeah,
it's
they're calling them GLIPs.
Putting it there, the glips.
But it's like a P, not a B.
Yeah, like
glib.
Like
yeah.
like
I got you. So we did get filled on that Apple dip trade again, baby, as it did break below that 180.18. So here we go. Now decisions are going to be made here on Apple. Do we hold that 180 level, or are we going to give up the ghost on 180? It's been a good defend level for a few weeks. I'd say maybe a few months on Apple at 180. We'll have to see what we get.
Yeah, that VKTX, I have to say, maybe part of it, in addition to it being in the range I like, maybe part of, and I'm totally joking here, maybe part of why this worked out for me too is I do like my GLP-1 names and or the GLP situation. And so I think this, this VKTX, I think this is a really cool trade. I was happy I was able to get involved, just seeing a range and being like, you know what, if we get to the bottom of the range, punch in, although I did panic the second I saw I got filled, but that's okay. We did not lose anything in this trade. In fact, it was pretty decent trade overall here. Yeah, this meta, you totally called it on this meta. This meta coming back in here. But like I said, I'm watching that 483.60. Look at all these failed wicks we had before the selling began. I got involved in this short, and as you can see, I really did give up the ghost in this short quite early because meta had a lot more ghost to give up or a lot more selling to occur before that point. Also, though, why I like this 483.60 area is because we had a little bit of an area of support here earlier. Then we break down, try to come back up here, and then smack back down to the downside. So I'm going to be watching what we do with this 148.60. That being 183.60. My apologies. That being said, I really don't want to do anything counter trend, though. You know what I mean? Like that NVIDIA situation was spooky stuff indeed, and that even really wasn't super counter trend at the time. It was really a situation of lower highs and lower lows. So that, with all that in mind, I really do not want to rush anything with Meta. Microsoft, though, I do kind of like this as a long, and I'm going to explain why. I think the 3-minute might show it a skosh better. I like, we kind of got to that bottom here after that little sell-off. Not little, it was a massive sell-off. 403 and some change to 404. Then we get kind of these higher lows, higher highs. I think I might have, oh yeah, never mind. I actually think, we still could have an opportunity here off that 9 EMA. This 404.50 might not be bad, and then just kind of taking down at previous areas of support and resistance. So I think we're going to try to get involved in this because trying to be a little bit more taking advantage of opportunities when we see them. So I do like this Microsoft long. We'll see if it comes to fruition here, but trying to get in at 40. Okay, we should have gotten in. We'll see if this kicks in here, but just got in right below that 404.50 area. How is Apple going?
No, still same thing. Nothing's different on this one. But VKTX, oh my goodness. This one going, someone just wrote in the chat, it dipped below 80. I think it spent like all of 3 seconds there because it's above 82 again. So the strength on VKTX and the volatility. And you could even make the argument bamboozlement, right? You're looking for a big push down and then right back up you go. So VKTX up 114%. High a day, 82 2/3. I think we break that. Geez, man, I wish I should have been sitting at 80 there, but that's all right. Here we go. We're on our way up again. Looks like into 83 here. So lots of strength on this name, but not to really be outdone by JANX as well. This one popped off that 46.5 bottom. This was a level that was obvious in the earlier time of day. We break above, we come to 48, and then we act. We use that 46.5, excuse me, as a level to defend that area. So moving back up into 48, maybe 48.5 soon. The level, though, we're all looking at is that $50 level. That's the high of the day to the penny on JANX. But look at VKTX, man. That's where all the hype is at the moment. So Apple, right back into break even on AAPL. Nothing for me to write about this. It's a well-defined trade. 180 is the line in the sand. We're going to give it a couple of pennies below 180, though, just for the bamboozlement style trades. But we'll see if this one holds up. NVIDIA, NVIDIA making moves, baby. Ooh. It's now green on the day, up 1/3% and on its way up into 794. Now, we've had issues with 794 all day with NVIDIA, and that goes to the pre-market as well as the IB high. Look where that IB high is. We're at the open there. We pop into 794 1/3. We're at 794 again, and it's also pivots, right? We open below pivots, and we've been rejecting off the pivot point all day, and in addition to using VWAP as well as a good support level. But the resistance level has definitely been the pivot. It's been once, twice, and if it rejects here, it'll be OB thrice. So we'll have to wait and see whether we get another rejection at that general 794 area on NVDA. But it is, since that big move down into 771, incrementally putting in higher lows and now higher highs. There it goes through pivots, 794.80 AMD, HOD at the moment. Good strength on the, is anybody really surprised?
Yeah.
At NVIDIA's strength?
No, I'm sure Jensen's pleased as punch.
Oh, he's
yeah, I mean,
pumped.
This is crazy look. Although now as we get to 194.25, it looks like we're maybe getting weaker. And as I say that, we go up to 194.50. So there's a low apparently long this 773. So congrats to you. Oh my gosh. Sharif's getting pumped, quite literally doing a fist pump, and I'm sure saying camp it. So.
And as soon as Ram sees me get excited, because you know that I always get pumped like when I'm not on camera, right? I don't do these.
Always, yeah. It's not just
right?
the show, guys.
And now it's Ram's making everything to try to get me doing it. So as soon as I get excited, she'll flip to the middle camera so as to expose my excitement.
How dare
Why, Ram? Why? She doesn't care. She's talking to the Chilean nightmare. We bounced again off that 180.09 Adera on AAPL. Let's see if we can move up into that 180 and 2/3. That's what I'll be looking to de-risk a little bit, 180.60-ish, give or take on Apple, if we can make it up there.
It's a nice look. I like just adding to the position too.
I did, yeah.
I know you've been saying too, and this is something I'm 100% working on too, is just adding to a position when you like the area. So yeah, congrats on that.
Do you want to have a look at PanDub?
I do want to look at PanW. This is yeah, let's totally look. Oh, okay. So I like this kind of as a short. I really should have taken this short when we were talking about this earlier, but this spread is a little bit dicey. It's about 14 cents. We saw a little bit of a recovery though, this 308, a little bit of a change up. Coming into that 310, which I would certainly argue is a level here. Lots of chop and churn at that 310. We actually consolidated here for, I'm on the 3 minute, but I want to say about not an hour, but definitely about a half hour here on this PanW, chop and churn into 310. Then we come back to 310, pop up with a vengeance. Now we're getting a little bit of a dance here, the wick shimmy dance, as Sharif would say, around that 310.50, 311 area off the 9 EMA. I think this is a nice look. I think if you're going long here, I would definitely be cognizant. I mean, obviously not advice, right? Totally just the look at the chart, and it depends on your style of trading. But I do think that 313 area, I'd be pretty cognizant of, because that was where we had our little bounce earlier. Then, of course, that 315, like any area we're kind of seeing previous areas of support and resistance, right? I do think that that PanW is certainly an interesting one for sure to keep an eye on. And we have been running, other than that massive move down in earnings, the market has certainly been trying to correct that for the last couple of days. I know yesterday, PanW was moving quite significantly. Today, even though as we fell off here, and we did fall off pretty significantly from 327 into those intraday lows of 308, we're still up 2.5%. So that certainly says something, I'll put it that way. Microsoft also, I want to address this trade because I'm still in this. Got involved in this because I did see that recovery off that 404, where did I see this? This 404 area more or less, and just kind of seeing higher highs, higher lows. If we break below that 404.20, we make a new low. I'm out. I already took some profit out at that 404.80 area, which I liked because that was where we had, you know, kind of making a new high here in the 3 minute, which I'll show what I mean. Because I mean, I'm always looking for ranges, right? I'm looking for areas that are kind of ranging and playing some chop and churn. That's why I got involved with that 404.80, because we did have some of that level there. I'm saving a piece for the dream just shy of 405 because that was that previous high. So it's kind of me explaining the Microsoft trade. I might add a little bit if we hold back at that 404.40 again, but I don't really want to push it. I'm just kind of getting into the end of the day here, at least the end of my trading day, because like I said, I usually cease trading as the midday winds to an end. Some people mentioning BOBA. We have Scott Thomason saying, why are we not talking about BOBA? So let's rectify that. Let's look at BABA. BABA. What's the way you say it? BABA?
BABA?
BABA. Yeah, let's look at Alibaba here, though. In all seriousness, this was interesting. We had news that they led a $1 billion round of investment into this AI, this moonshot AI. This was actually on the watch list. Ooh, I like this 77.90 area that we're coming into on Alibaba. 1, 2, 3 times we touched this as a top. And then we actually, you know, we had a bit of a low here at the 773. Oh, I like this range in general, so I'm going to draw it. Thank you so much, Scott Tomlinson, and everyone in the chat for bringing this to our attention, because this is certainly an interesting look. So yeah, the areas I like here are this pushing into the 77.90 top, and also this double, actually quadruple bottom at 77.30. Say that we touch it once, we touch it twice, we touch it 3 times right ahead of the open, and then we touch it one last time at 11.40. And then we curl back up here to that 779. If we push above, that would be a new high, I think certainly of note. If not, this could be an interesting short. I might put this on my side chart. I think Alibaba is trying to get involved in the side chart there. And why not? Honestly, also too, Opie, shout out to Opie, talking a lot about how there are certain levels that stocks will gravitate towards that have a certain magnetism. We'll see some confluence there. And I think certainly Alibaba seems to have that with VWAP. At least this is the 3-minute here, right? That 776, we bounced twice. Then we come into this, we have a wick down into 7760, and then buyers saying, no, you don't. Running that back to the upside here. So I think that VWAP bounce here with Alibaba certainly significant, but my main levels are going to be 77.90 and 77.30. I hope that helps. That is my take here on Alibaba.
Apple's on the way to 180. Here we go. Yes, yes. So I've got another. Okay, so here we go. We got long more at 05s. Let's see what we get here at 80. So I'm trying to look at the book to see how much size we've got here at the 80 level. We're a little far away from it right now, so you can't really see the full picture. There goes 5. Yeah, so there is decent size on there. Sorry for the background noise. We have a fire alarm testing in the building. So if you hear that background noise, I do apologize. But right now I'm fixated as to what we're going to do here on AAPL. New cost basis of 14s, as we did add at 5s there. Again, if this does break 180, I'm going to give this like maximum 11 pennies or so, 179.89, give or take that area. But ideally, I would like the whole dollar to hold, the $10 level at 180 to hold. Lots of decisions to be made here as we get inch closer and closer to that 180 level on AAPL. And we have had a nice move down here on the future. It's rejected that high that it put in at 17.9 2/3, and Big Kyle Burdett was like, he's shorting NVIDIA off that 795 pop, 794.80 technically, and he's already $3 some odd in the money as it dipped into 791, 792 and change there on NVDA. So we'll continue to watch there. Dan the Man Emmons, being so long, most people forgot how to trade a down day. Yeah, clearly, I mean, we've been long most of the time, essentially since October 31st onwards. It's been fantastic for the long-minded individuals. But I know yourself and Kyle, you guys love the shorts on the future. Shout out to you guys. Hope you're both printing today. Keeping an eye on these other small cap gappers that we keep talking about. And VKTX, this is the gift that keeps on giving, man. It's now broken above 84, 84 1/3 high a day. It's been uninterrupted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 green 5-minute candles in a row for VKTX. Awfully strong right now, Adair.
Yeah, you know it's not awfully strong right now, though. Unlike VKTX, Tesla.
Ooh.
I just missed my opportunity to get involved in this short. And I like this because I mentioned this could have been a flat bottom break. Now, my only thing is this might get dicey for me for levels, taking this out on the way down. But that being said, we really cannot hold this 199 area. We're seeing this kind of chop and turn, this consolidation. If we actually decisively break below here, I will be taking this. Let me look at my levels on the daily chart because I just realized this is maybe a trade that I will not be able to follow through. Should I get filled? It looks like I'm not going to get filled on it. But basically why I liked it was I liked that failure. You totally called that 205 area of interest on Tesla, by the way. Yesterday you mentioned that because Tesla at this 205 on the daily.
Yeah, you're right.
So shout out to you.
Thank you
for calling that one out. But yeah, that honestly, I think maybe give this to 198, but I don't even know if we're going to get filled on this. Basically, though, I did want to take this short because I'm trying to take advantage of more opportunities when I see them. And to me, I would argue I'm still using some of the range scalp instincts here, and that I'm noticing a failure of this range. However, Tesla decided, Adara, in the time you've waffled here and not gotten into this short, I'm going to drop 30 cents. That's cool. I should have worked. I'm still working on setting my my points of entry at a more realistic place. I think I thought Tesla would give a little bit more back to the upside than it actually did. That's okay. Well, you know what? Maybe we're going to try to get in the 79 area. Oh, that was where I was trying to get in 69. We'll do 69s here on the short side. For Tesla, if we get decisively above that 199, I'm out.
All right, Dara's got to switch up her battery, so I'm just going to take over for a sec while the undefeated production team helps her out. All right, getting a nice bounce again here off that 180 level on Apple. I'm sorry to keep talking about it, but it's a trade that I'm fixated on at the moment. But let's be real about it. It's been consecutively lower lows and lower highs. So this is not my type of trade. I'm a trend trader, and this is taking a counter trend trade off a key level. So it's calculated risk there. But
the trend is to the downside. Does it subsist in this way, or do we start moving up at least maybe into VWAP or something in and around there? I think Apple doesn't move independently. We're going to need a market bounce here to help propel Apple upwards, so we'll have to wait and see what we get. Kevy82 MSTR is starting to go again. Oh, baby. This one got an upgrade today. Who was it from again?
Benchmark company.
Thank you. The Benchmark company.
Canaccord Genuity?
It could be.
I'm going to check. Sorry.
That's fine. We'll take off Beam and we'll look at MSTR. MicroStrategy is having itself a little bit of a good time. And I think it was a big price target increase to like
$300.
$300 price increase. Well, I mean, it's an expensive stock. But guys, yesterday at the close, we were at $690 on MSTR. Today, we touched $890 high. Like, this is nuts. That's a 28% move in one day. And I mean, if you don't care about percentages, well, it's a big boy dollar move, all right? It's almost it's basically $200 from the 690 to 890 there on a $900 name almost, give or take. So that's a fantastic move for it there. Let's flip back to AAPL. Yeah, we're still doing nothing at 16s. So nothing for me to do here. But this VKTX trade, is it going? No. So it's coming back down now. All right. So now VKTX rejecting 84, now coming back down. Is the level 8? Okay, so if we were to get a dip trade on VKTX on this recent pullback, is it 80 that I'm getting a dip trade on, or is it 79s? So the initial top here that we got was a 78 top. Not even really a 79 top. This is going to be tough to judge because I'm fixated on this high over here, and I'm looking for this level to defend, but it may actually defend at the whole dollar level at 80. So this is a bit of a tough one here. Decisions, Adira. I'll think about this one while you drop some hot lines. What do you usually look over there?
I can totally drop hot lines.
Yeah.
Also, it was Canaccord Genuity that gave MicroStrategies that
It was?
started.
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure.
Thank you.
On that, because I like being. We like to deliver accurate information.
Yes, ma'am.
But yeah, so I think this this Tesla, I did get involved. I think what I might be having to do is just scalping pieces of this to the downside, then coming back if it gets to my level, adding. I think that's going to have to be my plan here. I really am trying to be more decisive because, as Sean says, a scared trader is a deficient trader, and I certainly have known to be a little bit waffly at times when you just need to make a decision.
Really?
That's why I got involved here.
I've never felt you're waffling.
Well, I think with trading sometimes. Right?
Really?
Oh, that's nice of you to say.
I didn't feel that you were waffly.
That's nice. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Yeah, no, I think this Tesla is, though I did like, and I chose it for a reason. We had that move down here. I do think this could be a bit of a flag breakout to the downside.
Huge move.
Yeah, the one, like I said, though, that's the one thing that concerns me is because this isn't really a rangy type move, right?
Right.
It just kind of fell.
Right.
But I mean, if we break decisively back above that 199 area where we had that consolidation, I'm going to be out. So we're giving this about 40 cents. Thank you. I'm pretty happy with it so far. I'll probably take some out around that 198.01 area, and I'll be watching this like a hawk because Tesla does like to be stressed, like keep us on our toes, make us depressed. That's what we do. Also, yeah, NVIDIA continuing to drop here. Kyle Burdett celebrating here in the chat. Yeah, this is an interesting one. And honestly, too, you know what I just realized? If you want to actually look at it from what we did at 1150, you could argue we're sort of in an uptrend.
Right.
And I know this is maybe kind of a counterculture argument, counter-trend argument perhaps, but look at this. So from that drop at 1055, which is admittedly a lower high, right? Then we make this move here. We see a higher high at 793. Then we come into a higher low at 789, then another higher low 790, higher high at 794. The only thing is, though, is with that in mind, you do have to consider the fact that we did have a double top and lower highs. So the larger trend, I think, is still a downtrend, but I think there's a micro uptrend basically from the start of the midday is my take on that. A little bit of mixed signals, of course, from NVIDIA here is what I'm noticing. Yeah, Tesla coming back into basically my point of entry, so we're going to have to wait and see what it does here. I think I need to be very scalpy if I'm going to try to trade this type of name in a way that makes sense for me. But yeah, no, I think like so much happening today. We had our lesson on Elliott waves. Should I do a quick recap of that for the third?
Yeah, I totally forgot.
Yeah, why not?
That.
I just wanted because I know we did it the lesson later.
Yeah, yeah, good call on that.
Rush into it there, and Tesla's cooking, so I will let the Cybertruck drive while we get into our Elliott wave lesson. Oh,
Bang.
And again, not starting at the first slide. Look at me.
Oh, good.
Elliott wave theory. There we go. Making waves here with Elliott waves. So here's some key concepts here. which is basically the waves themselves. So it sees 8 waves that form a complete cycle. So the first 5 waves, we have waves that are 1, 3, and 5. They're going to move with the trend, and then 3 other waves, A, B, and C, moving against the trend. We also have to keep in mind impulse and corrective waves. So waves 1, 3, and 5 are impulse waves and represent the main trend. And then waves 2 and 4 and A, B, and C are going to be corrective waves. These will move against the dominant trend. Fractal structure also going to be really important here. So EWT, or Elliott wave theory, proposes a fractal nature, which is something Sharif will talk about a lot here as well, right? Which means that smaller wave patterns can nest within larger ones, or that you can see these on multiple time frames. That's basically what it means here. And the same 5 to 3 or impulse corrective structure can apply across all time frames. So here's some Elliott waves. So you have our impulsive move to the upside. Within that, you have the impulsive wave 1, a bit of a corrective wave 2, then the impulsive wave 3, which is said to be, it's never going to be the shortest wave that you see in a pattern. Then we see this corrective wave 4, another little dip, then another impulsive wave 5, then we see the corrective move down. So A and C are going to be the big corrective moves there, and then B, a little bit of impulsive moves. So if you see stutter steps to the up or downside, it's kind of a way of looking at that in a mathematical term, should this pattern, you know, be present, right? Because you're not going to find Elliott waves everywhere. Lee Auto, a really good example of Elliott waves, as pointed out here by Sharif, that he kind of took us through, right? So you had this move up, you had little corrections into this, you had this move up here.
What's happening? Guys, lights? Yeah.
Yeah, you had this little bit of mood, I guess, stock mood later here. We had this move here, then we started to see the move down, and then as we had the move down, we had a little bit of a pop here, which could be wave B, and then a continued move here to the downside for Lee Auto. And same here with the SPY, right? So we had the move down, then a move back up, and within these moves down and up, we do have little waves, little stutter steps, right, up and down. So I think that's kind of an interesting look here for Elliott waves. But let's break down these waves here, right? So wave 1 and 2 are going to, wave 1 is going to initiate the trend, and wave 2 is going to correct the trend. It's often going to be about a 62% retracement of wave 1, but of course, you know, no rules are always going to apply set in stone, right? It's always more of a suggestion than a set in stone rule. Waves 3 and 4, wave 3 is going to usually exceed 1, and it's definitely not going to be the shortest wave. And then wave 4 will be a little short correction. So again, kind of seeing more chop and churn, like if you're going to be on like a Peloton, like up and down, right? Like it's going to continue, but wave 3 is going to be a little bit stronger. Now we have wave 5. That's going to complete the trend, breaking a new high, which is going to be pretty important here as well. And from there, we see waves A, B, and C opposing the main trend, though wave B is going to be a bit of a correction of the corrective wave. So wave B is going to be a little bit more upside, and wave C being like, nope, we're still moving down. So to kind of show you what I tried to explain there, here we have, so we have wave 1, bit of a move up. Wave 2 can't be a full correction. It can't go to a whole new low, right? Then we have wave 3, which is never, it's not always going to be the longest, but it's never going to be the shortest wave if we're seeing a proper Elliott wave. Then another minor correction coming in wave 4. Wave 5, we see a new high, so it's definitely going to have to exceed the high that we made in wave 3. And then we see this move back down, this corrective move, right? So we have wave A and wave C moving down, and wave B giving a little bit more upside before they continue to move down on wave C. Then if you're seeing the corrective move to the downside, because this will be in a bull market, we have the bear market corrective waves. Wave 4 cannot end in the price territory of wave 1, right? So basically, we can't completely see encroachment upon earlier waves. That's kind of what this is saying here. Also, yeah, some people mentioning Tesla. I am watching Tesla. We rejected this 199 still, so I'm still in it, but I totally see what people are seeing there. Other facts and tips to keep in mind, Elliott waves actually do have some similarity to the Dow theory, and shout out to Sharif for making sure we covered Dow first.
Yes, ma'am.
Because then we can get into these Elliott waves. And both theories actually did recognize that stock prices move in patterns. So we have phases like the Dow theory or waves like the Elliott waves. But Elliott waves will actually maybe provide a little bit more detailed into the market sentiment because they actually recognize the fractal nature of markets. So some people were asking, what time frame is this best on? We usually say it's better to use a larger time frame, right? Not better, but you're going to get a better sense of the market. However, fractal does mean, and one of the biggest aspects of Elliott wave theory, which is really interesting, is that there's an infinite number, right? It'll kind of repeat itself within smaller versions of itself, and by that, really it can occur on any time frame. But again, usually the wider the time frame, the more accurate the look you're going to get. Identified fractal structure also was noted by Elliott because Elliott did discover and identify fractal structures in the financial markets in the 1930s, which is actually a while before they were going to be noted by scientists and then demonstrated on a mathematical basis. So that's pretty cool. There are also 9 degrees of waves, which is really neat. And so these are going to go from the largest to smallest, though, of course, by nature of how the Elliott wave theory is structured, there could even be waves above or below this. So largest, you're going to have the grand supercycle. Then you have the supercycle, the cycle, the primary wave, the intermediate wave, the minor, the minute, the minuet, and the subminuet. So those are largest to smallest, the wave degrees. And as you can see, lots of different types of sizing, so very much a fractal situation here. But you always have to remember, Elliott wave theory, much like all the theories we talk about here, it's an art, not a science, and nothing is going to be exact 100% of the time. Everything is going to be a subjective and open to interpretation, but it can be really valuable for identifying potential turning points. It should not be, however, the sole basis for making investment decisions. So confluence, as Obi says, confirmation is going to be key, and always make sure that you're 100% confident before pressing your entry key.
Fantastic.
How are you doing over here?
Good, good. Still holding this Apple trade. Really, nothing's changed there. We're still above 180. Sometimes we get into the 20s. Sometimes we dip into the teens. The situation has not changed at all. We're holding on to it. We're seeing if we can get off that level, but the future is a little bit dead at the moment, quite frankly, really moving sideways a little bit here, a little high into 17.9 2/3, a little back down, 17.9 1/2. We'll have to wait and see what we get, but you know, indecision. We got into a quick and Carvana trade. We got long 81.20, popped into 81.60. We were looking for continuation, so we were about 40 pennies in the money on an $80 name, which doesn't mean much. And then it broke down below that 81 level, which was the level I was looking for it to hold at, right? And it looks like it may actually end up holding that level because it's back up above 81. The reason I was looking at 81, look at this consolidation top that we had from essentially from 1255 till about 135, where that $81 level was a bit of a top. And I even went back there and I was talking to Max as I was at the bathroom. I'm like, hey, did you get that 80 bounce? And he's like, no, I've been fixated on this 81. So I started looking. I'm like, what is he looking at 81? And then I saw basically what the idea was there. And right now it doesn't seem like it wants to hold above 81. So we're going to have to let that bad boy go and look for maybe an 80.5 dip. Again, I'm not going to just sit there with a resting order to take a long 80.5. Rather, I want to see get to that level, watch how it trades, see what the tape looks like, what the spread is like at that level, and then we can make the decision rather than having a resting order at that level because I don't know what's going to be made of it. So keeping an eye on VANA, and obviously we've been keeping an eye on JANX as well. You know, you tend to do that when it's up 210%. And VKTX as well. This one dipping back into 80. In fact, it broke 80, got down to about 79 1/3. And here we go again, right back above 80 and looking to take 81. This level over here was the level I was looking at. This crest up here at 78.5, 78 2/3, that general area, maybe even 79 if you really want to round up, was the level I was looking for a defend at. And it didn't quite make it down to 79. It got down to about 79 1/4. Let's see if it uses that 79 general area as a level of defense and then pops back up maybe to test 84 again, which is currently the high of day on this bad boy. So yeah, you know what? Lots of possible trades here. Not jumping into anything in the less liquid time of day. We have about 13 minutes left on the show, and then the big kahunas are going to take over. Katina Man, you want to update us on your trades?
I'm the opposite. I'm in a lot.
The Katina Man is in multiple trades. Give them to me. Short Meta. Short Nvidia. Short more ARM than he was earlier. Go to more Trader TV. In fact, thank you, Katina Man, for reminding me about that. Here we go. This is a second channel that we have, Ram. And this is Ram. This is the other channel. It's called More Trader TV, and it's a data-only channel, baby. And all you get on here is the Katina Man on the right, the Neil on the left. You get to see all their entries, their exits. You'll see here the Katina Man is living up to his word about shorting everything. He's short the Qs. He's short AMD. He's short Nvidia. ARM, Meta, the gauntlet, baby. And then look at the side over here where it says Sean's last trades. See where it says S and B, sell and buy, and the time and the name. It's fantastic. Shout out to Mark.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, man. We're working on that. We're working on that. And then you got the Neil up here. He's long Unity and short Amazon, AMD, Intel. He doesn't like the chips today. It doesn't look like. And Amazon as well. And then you have the economic calendar. You have the top stocks, the biggest movers, Adara. You got everything you need for a silent channel, I guess. Is that what
Well, I
would
think
you call
there's some
that?
chatting in the chat as well, though.
Oh,
right? So
good
it's not
point.
totally silent. I know
Good
there
point.
are some chit chats in the chat. So the chat's certainly keeping it alive and well and awake as well. But I think
chat's
you mean it's
undefeated.
silent in terms of there's none of us
Yes,
talking on
yes,
it.
yes. Thank you for that correction. I appreciate you.
Yeah, no, I mean, I totally agree with what you said there. I'm just trying to get out of this Tesla because after a lot of knocks on the door of 199, as you would put it here, we finally decided to break above it. So this is where I have to make my slightly sad farewell from Tesla. I did add a little bit of that 198.80 area because we rejected again, but then I decided, I was like, we're clearly picking up here. I don't know if I'm going to go long at this level yet because I need more kind of confluence there. I have 11 minutes left until the end of this show, but I do
That's
think
your
this is a
first one.
really nice look here for Tesla potentially recovering off that 199. Again, risk management not going to be glamorous, but it sure will help you and let you breathe more easily, which is I think what we really enjoy here while trading. Because I was not breathing easily in some of my earlier trades. These Tesla shorts earlier, I remember Sharif walks by and he's like, "Are you good?" Because I was like, got involved in this way too early. I should have waited for that 202.40 short, because if you got that double top short off 202.40, congratulations to you. What a look. Bears versus Bulls saying, I vote for karaoke on the other screen. So I think, yeah, honestly, that would be a very fun time. We'll have to see. No, I'm joking, but that would be really fun there. Thank you very much, Alvin Johnson. Yeah, I did lose on this. It wasn't a successful trade, but I did. I think it's really just about not being stubborn. You see your area that you've identified come into play, and you have to leave. So thank you. I appreciate that. I really am trying to learn every single day. Yeah, I did read the karaoke comment there.
Can I tell you, I wish I had mentors and people around me that were teaching me, the real stuff like these guys over here. I had them on the video, right? But it's way different to have them on the video than to actually go to Sean, go to Neil, go to Brendo, go to some of the bigger traders on the floor and to actually talk to them. And so I kind of jealous of you in a little bit in that way because, I wish, because everybody always says in trading, you hear a lot of how to cut your learning curve is you need a really good teacher, a really good mentor, or people, not just one person, people around you to kind of help guide you in the right direction, right? And you don't even trade like anybody I know on the floor. And that's the funny thing. You've done your own thing. So even though you've got people around you that are showing you this means that and that, you've adopted your own style. And so that's pretty cool.
Thank you. That's very nice of you to say. And
Yeah,
I mean,
no problem.
also, people that I'm getting advice for, I totally get advice for, so I want to say thank you to you. But
No
yeah,
worries.
Sean, Neil, thank you so much, Neil, in the chat, pointing out that flat bottom break on Amazon that I really should have learned from, and I know he's killing that short. There we go here. Yeah, Brendan, the guys on the floor as well. Literally, I feel so grateful for this opportunity. And yeah, I mean, maybe that says something. Maybe I should be adapting my approach more based on the people I'm around. But yeah, just trying to find my own style and learn a little bit more every single day. Also, speaking of my style, I'm seeing a little bit of an umbrella handle on this Tesla. We had a little bit of a curve up, and now we're failing that 199 again. So I am going to short, don't mind if I do. If we break kind of back into this 199.20, I'm going to give this about 20 cents. I'm going to say goodbye. If not, though, I do think that this is kind of what I like to call the umbrella handle pattern. To clarify, it's kind of like a fake out long reversal. You have a lot of movement to the downside, and then you see a little bit of a recovery, a little bit of a reversal up, and then you see a sharp move down. Why I call this sharp move down is because we got up above that 199, why I left the short in the first place, but we can't really do anything above that 199. That's
Right.
why I like this short. So we'll see if the umbrella handle pattern, which again, not an actual pattern, just or not like a patented one, just one that I noticed that I
The
did
umbrella?
Yeah, it's
You
the
call it the umbrella pattern. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't even listening to that, but then when you made the caveat about not really a pattern, I'm like, oh, she's talking about the umbrella pattern. I love it. Shout out to Scott Tomlinson. Come on, Tesla, go. Stop being stressla. All right. It hears you, Tom. It hears you. All right.
So do I.
Yeah. Let's have a look. Softy, guys, got a nice little bounce there off that 404 and change. Oh, hello. How are you, my friend? We got the Randy. Oh, love how Ram hit that twice. Did you have a look at your friend, the Fisker Ocean? Did you see MKV's review of the Fisker Ocean? scathing to say the least, eh? And you know what I didn't like about that? When you know how the monitor it tilts, right? So you got the yeah. And so I like it too. But then he started like fiddling with the monitor, and it was super not in place. You know what I mean? Looked cheap. How'd you feel about that?
First gen product. They need to solve some problems, but it's the first one out of the gate. Why their sales haven't been as good as Rivian's or Tesla. So you know what? They've got issues, but overall, I like the vehicle. I still have my pre-order. I might sell it to Sean one day. We'll see.
You know what else they're saying they're going to update is the solar panels.
Yes.
You can't really tell how much charge you're getting from the solar panels. So they're no, they can't. MKV was trying it, but they promised that they're going to put that on the update.
Okay, I heard in the first gen there was via the app you could tell, but maybe
Yeah.
there's an update coming that gives you a better representation on the screen. But I saw an in-depth video about 9 months ago on it, and he left it parked outside his garage, and it charged, and it's yeah. So that feature again should be on other vehicles.
Yeah, I agree.
If you park outside, it has gives you a little bit of useful, not much, but a bit of useful range.
I
So,
definitely like the interior though. Did you see quality interior, eh?
yes, absolutely. Okay,
See how they do.
I'm not crossing my fingers on this one.
Magna's making some of their cars out in Europe, right?
Yes, under contract. Yeah, we'll see.
We're talking about the Fisker Ocean guys, in case you haven't noticed. MKV, one of the best review guys on YouTube, did a review on it. It was kind of scathing. We can both agree a little bit on that.
I've seen both sides of the fence. A little bit opinionated, maybe, but that's okay. That's okay. Fair.
Another edition of the Midday Randy's Rants, baby. Shout out to Randy. Anytime I need anything car related or I want to ask anything about a car, it's always Randy I go to first.
Yeah, if I drove, I would definitely be asking Randy for car advice. Well, I like to clarify because I do
gotcha.
not. Yeah, I mean, I enjoy the look of a car, and I've talked about this. I know very little about cars, but I enjoy the look of a car. But yeah, no, I mean, shout out to Randy. He knows all his EV stuff, and I love when we have these little moments where we get to talk to Randy and hear his take on cars.
Favorite car?
Okay, this is gonna be. I already know this is a hot take, and
Okay.
I apologize in
All
advance.
right.
I really like the Chevy HHR.
Hold on. I don't even know what that looks like.
Okay, so it's super.
Okay, we'll pull it
boxy.
up.
So I really liked it, and then my father actually ended up getting one like a couple years after I got really into it, and so then I was super down for that.
I know this. What am I
They
saying?
do not make them anymore.
No, I know this.
But
This is
yeah,
awesome.
that was we had a bright red one.
I love these cars. Yeah, these remind me of like the mid 2000s. That's when they came out, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Remember that? Yeah. This was like they were trying to get all the boomers who didn't, had these kind of designs when they were young, and they were trying to like relive their youth a little bit. My old man loves this car, and the other one, what was it called? The Thunderbird.
I think so. I know.
Patty, what's that one called? The Thunderbird, the T-Bird? Was that? No, it's not the Plymouth Prowler. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the one Ford made with the circular windows in the rear. Oh man. No. I'll pull it up. It's like another retro design. Yeah, we'll have a look. Yeah, I like these.
But yeah,
cars.
no, I like those. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna put you onto the sword again. New car. You got to pick a new car.
Okay.
This is a little bit of dated a little bit. I like
the
it.
Lucid Moon. Remember the Moon car?
Okay,
The
let's-
Lucid Air. Sorry, the one that we were calling the Moon truck.
The Gravity, or you like the SUV or the actual sedan?
I think I like the SUV. I think the one that we were looking at the website.
No, that's the
ago.
Gravity.
I think it's the Gravity.
I think this is the one you're liking
wrong.
over here. Yeah, this is how can you go wrong?
It's a nice look, and again, kind of a boxier, a little bit more of a vehicle with shape and some presence.
I like that. Yeah, okay.
Which is
okay.
apparently what I like in my vehicles. So, so nice look.
I
there.
heard all these innuendos in the chat on 3, 2, 1, go. No, I'm kidding.
Oh no, I was just
yeah.
literally talking about the car.
I know.
I can't get that stuff. So yeah, no, my brain does not work that way in terms of.
I know.
sarcasm. As Sharif knows, yeah.
All right, baby. We're moving up finally here on AAPL in the 180.30s. Is it time to take some profits? The answer, in my opinion, is no. I'm going to be waiting for that 180.60. The reason is there is where we kind of consolidated bottom, and I'd like to take some profits in and around there, maybe de-risking at the $0.50 as well. But finally, we didn't give up the ghost yet anyway. On Apple at 180, moving into that 180 and a third. We're long at 14s. Let's see what we can get. Maybe we can extract some more money out of the market on the day. Marshall Abu, what's your favorite old and new car? Oh, okay.
So new car is going to be a bit of a tough one because there's just so many. But old car, eh? Old car, okay. I'm gonna actually have to think about that. There's just really way too many options there. Let me get back to you on that. I'll have something not as on the nose. Maybe something not. I think
I know the new car.
Okay. Well, you're gonna say Cybertruck, aren't you?
I was.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna say Cybertruck. I can't make it that obvious, right? It can be any car, right?
Yeah.
So it's not just the Cybertruck and an affordable alternative. It could be anything. We'll have to wait and see. All right, what's your look over there as we've got 1 more minute left on the show?
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
I'm so happy I got out of Tesla where I did.
Apple,
Oh my gosh.
Apple
We're at
180.
200.
Oh, Apple dipped into 180 aggressively, and there's a lot of action right now happening at this 180 level. The tape is really moving here. I don't know what's going on, but something is afoot right now on Apple. It dipped down, now it's moving right back up. Lots of bamboozlement here, and this is super weird for it to come in at a random time like this. I'm going to send it to you, Adair, to send off.
Yeah, I mean, yes, sir. I'm so happy I got out where I did on this Tesla. Oh my gosh, that 199.20. I said if we break above that, I'm out. So happy I'm out. Risk management, very much just part of doing business when you're going to be trading. So pretty grateful for that. And one thing I'm learning too is this is something. Sorry, I'm talking really quickly here. That I've kind of learned in general is like as long as you follow your plan, it's not necessarily a bad trade. That's something I'm trying to learn and something I'm certainly trying to stick with. Today, much like yesterday, a bit of a negative day, but certainly there were some good trades. There were some bad trades. There were some ugly trades. But tomorrow, not going to be ugly when we talk about Fibonacci's.
Yes, ma'am.
But for now, we'll see you tomorrow. Same bad time, same bad channel. For now, though, Brennan's going to be at the big desk, guys.
Ram.
Hey guys, yeah, just reading this note on Apple. It's Bloomberg that is reporting this right now. Apple to wind down its electric car plans. Again, that's according to Bloomberg. To